guys, we'll be starting this particular session in just a while. And it's been a pleasant evening, and I hope that you guys are having a wonderful weekend. We'll be starting this particular session, and I truly believe this gonna be the cracker of the session. We have been doing this kind of rooms for quite a while. Our basic context is to do a knowledge oriented session, and that's on our promise. We'll be starting this session. Till then, Mr. CG sir is also with us. Hi, CG sir, how are you? It's been so long time.
I'm good. Good evening, all. I'm fine. Thank you.
Great, great. So I could see stock market scientist sir is also with us. So just welcoming him. So he's highly vocal about equity market and a very well known figure first of all, and amazingly humble personality and a very wise man I would say. Mr. Stock Market Scientist has a decade old experience and have seen various market cycles and up cycle and down cycle. So, ladies and gentlemen, do join me in welcoming our guest speaker, Mr. Stock Market Scientist. Thank you for joining with us tonight, sir, on such a short notice, and welcome to our spaces. I really look forward listening to your amazing insights. First of all, a very great weekend.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible perfectly.
Yeah. So, thank you, Mani Garg, for inviting me on this platform. And I believe, the way we had hosted the last, space and discussed the various things about stock market and all. So, it was indeed a very nice session. And I'm sure today's session is going to be much more interesting than what we had earlier, right? And I would personally thanks to all the audience of just stay tuned, just joined, and I would suggest all the audience to stay tuned in this session, and we're going to discuss a lot of things today, right?
Absolutely, sir. I think we do have a lot more to ask from you. Very hard questions from audience side will also be welcomed as time passes by. Also, we do have our special friend and supporter, Mr. Dhirenji, with us. So, would request him to join as a speaker with us. And before we actually start this particular session, I would like to introduce my fellow co-host for tonight. By the way, this is Manigar, and I have been the host for tonight. Joining with me is Rima, a friendly host and a great sporter and a great learner. She has highly been passionate about the equity markets lately and a key person to motivate me to actually host this session. So thank you for joining with us, Rima. And we do have Mr. ChetanGill. He's the founder of a wealth mogul. He's having a decades of experience working with the financial institutes and having a deep domain knowledge on various aspects of the capital market. And we are all fan of his research skill. And a pleasure having you with us, Mr. Chetan. And would like to welcome our amazing audience. We highly appreciate you guys joining on Sunday evening, taking out time and listening to us. Hopefully, we could do justice with your time and we'll keep the session full of fun and knowledge oriented, as Mr. Stock Market Scientist was saying, and that's our promise to us from our side. So stock market scientist ji, I just wanted to say that the last time you were there with us in December 2021 session, you talked about sugar sector, you talked about various other sectors also. You talked positive outlooks, and you have talked about the turnaround on the infra and the property market. And some of the selected counters and the stocks have gone 50% up from there onwards. So my question, the first question will be, in is which sector you are most bullish on going short to midterm right now? So are you there with us?
Yes, I'm there with you. So could you repeat your question, because last I guess there was some technical glitch. I could not able to
No,
listen.
but of course, I think we can get started with this particular session. We do have a good audience and a great speakers. Uh, Last time, sir, you joined with us. You talked about sugar sector. You also talked about the infra and the property market. And selected stocks have gone 50% from there on, from December 2021, the last time you were there with us. So my question is, in which sector you are most bullish on going short to midterm?
So I guess there are a couple of sectors, where I'm bullish, or I believe the chances of making money are very high in this sector. So number one is your FMCG, and number two is your auto, auto mein we need to be very selective, because we need to see how auto companies are performing, or the stock which you are picking, so how that stock is performing. And number three, I would say either it is infra or capital goods, right? Because what is happening, that the commodity cycle is picking out, right? I guess it has already picked out, right? So if that commodity cycle has picked out for short to medium term, then it is going to be beneficial for many sectors, right? Or the companies which are trading in commodity sectors, or somehow they have some kind of connect with commodities, so these companies are going to face a pressure, right? So let's say it's a metal sector, right? Totally the kind of prices that we have seen during last 4 5 months, and we had a special situation of this, Ukraine and this Russia war. So I guess this kind of special situation will not be there next year, right? But this year, the kind of situation we had, or the kind of situation we are in, due to that, you know prices are not going to sustain at this level, right? We've already seen a very good kind of decline in international prices. So I believe that commodity sector, or sorry, this sectors which are related to commodities, so most of the sectors are going to consolidate now, because you can't pass on the same kind of prices to the consumer. Although India is doing good in many areas, but you can't pass on the same kind of thing, because whatever growth, whatever growth we are getting in India, it is not similar, or it is, other countries are not in the same kind of situation, right, where you would get this kind of growth. So what it means it will take time for commodities to adjust at, or it's a kind of reverse to mean kind of situation. So I believe there will be a good cool off in short to medium term, and due to that, you'll see a consolidation is in metal sector, as well as sectors which are related to commodities prices, specifically. Let's say in chemical, so companies which are manufacturing industrial chemicals, so these companies are going to face a heat of that, margin destruction for next 1 or 2 quarter. So market is already factoring those those headwinds, you can say. And I believe you will not see a very good amount of rally in these areas. But this is a very good situation for some sectors, or you can say this is a very scenario for let's say for FMCG. So for an example, if prices are going to come down, then it is going to help the FMCG companies to, or it is going to boost the margin of FMCG companies, right? So for an example, they've already passed on, or they've already deployed their strategy of like reducing the weight and not increasing the price. I'm sure you would have witnessed, or you would have seen, uh, because we generally consume a lot of FMCG products every day. So you would have seen कि price जो है वो same है, that price is same, but that volume, or you can say weight, has been decreased or reduced. So what is happening? Somehow they are passing on that inflation. They already deployed their strategy. But if they get a very good amount of margin, with this decline in commodity prices, will they reduce the weight, or they reduce the price, or increase the weight? No, because adjust हो गया वो सारा कुछ, right? So this is a very good situation for these companies. Similarly, capital goods, companies which generally uses, it is a good news for reality sector as well, because metal का prices गिरेगा, and then cement का prices गिरेगा, and then a lot of other things, अगर वो नीचे आता है तो this is going to boost their margin as well, right? So I believe we need to be very still, if metal prices are going to decline or reverse to mean, जो पूरा एकदम hit up, but Ukraine and Russia war has ensured that ये हुआ, metals ka prices. So once we're going to see any ease, or we've already seen an ease in metal prices, or decline, you can say, in metal prices. So this thing is going to help the auto sector as well, right? In many front. Number one. Number two, I believe, if you see the so auto cycle has got picked out in 2018. Since that, somehow we have been consolidating in, or you can say, this entire auto cycle is in under consolidation mode. But we have, we have seen very good, green shoots due to this, EV numbers, or due to some, uh, due to, acquisition of more market share, you can say, in some companies. There are certain companies which have gained, very good amount of market share during last 2 3 years. So, for example, Tata Motor. Just see the market share of Tata Motor in 2018, and then see the market share now, right? So I believe we've already consolidated a lot. I'm talking about auto sector, and I believe it is going to, the new cycle is going to, or I guess that new cycle has already started, because if you see the consolidation of the price action of auto index in last 4 5 months, then you will say ki it is the only index, or it is one of the few index ki जहाँ पे we have shown a very small decline comparing other sectors. इतना बड़ा decline नहीं हुआ है. और precisely if you see the prices of, like, let's say Bajaj Auto, all time high के आसपास है. TVS Motor, look at the price action, है ना? So it is, मतलब, they've already discounted that all the bad scenario and all. One of my favorite, which is in my portfolio, like JBM Moto, I've already recommended a lot during Diwali. दिवाली में हमारा पिक भी था. सो इन द सेंस कि ऑटो में, आई गेस, एंड एफएमसीजी, एंड देन कैपिटल गुड्स और इंफ्रा और रियलिटी, ये 3 सेगमेंट आपको चूज करना पड़ेगा. वी आर गोइंग टू सी वेरी गुड रिटर्न इन नेक्स्ट 6 to 8 months. ओके अलावा, अगर मार्केट में यहाँ पे लेट्स से एक अच्छा बॉटम स्टैब्लिश होता है नेक्स्ट 2 3 वीक्स में, तो सेक्टर्स अभी चलेंगे, बट दीज सेक्टर्स आर गोइंग टू आउट परफॉर्म, right? Outperform a lot. These sectors are going to make money, or you can say these sectors, or the price chances of making money is very higher in these sectors versus other sectors. बाकी commodity से related जो sectors है वहाँ पे I would suggest investment के लिए wait करना चाहिए. Trading के लिए you can trade. Over to Mr. Garg.
I think you have I think you have given a great overview of various sectors. And ladies and gentlemen, also a disclaimer from our side: we are not a registered investment advisors, and this is sort of a personal perspective. Always consult your financial advisor before taking any investment decision. And then from our side, sir, I totally agree based on the pointers you have shared in terms of auto sector as well. I think Tata Motors have been winning big with that of in terms of EVs, and in terms of Ashok Leyland. They have been growing tremendously in the commercial vehicle engine space, right? And various JP Motors, I think they have done tremendous stuff, and huge headroom for growth. And given the shortage we have seen in terms of the semiconductors and the aluminum alloys in the past 5 to 6 months, and then there was also a downside due to the COVID pandemic we have seen. Now I do believe there could be some green upshoots. And of course, so the pointers you stated very valid, seems very valid. And I just wanted to know more perspective in terms of the banking and pharma. You also mentioned about the capital goods market. So what are the green shots you are looking up to? Why you do you believe that the capital market seems very resilient as of now as compared to the other sectors?
So I believe, so there are 2 points. Number one, whenever you are picking company in these areas or in these sectors, be ensured कि most of the business of that company is in India only. मतलब that business should not be much export oriented, right? If that company is totally operating in domestic area, or it has very less exposure in exports, then it would be better, right? Because if you see, because this thing I've already told you or already shared, ki the kind of growth that we have during last 6 months. So there are a lot of countries. So those countries have not grown in a similar manner. For an example, China. So Q1 was down for China due to COVID or some other reasons. Similarly, for America, due to inflation, they could not able to grow that much, which was required in Q1. But somehow, if you see the numbers of April, I generally track numbers of each and every quarter or even months as well. So numbers in month plus in numbers in May were pretty much higher than 2019, or you can say pre-pandemic level. uh, I've seen the record kind of business specifically in April. April has shown very good numbers. May was also good, right? And the kind of demand we had, you can say it was a pent up demand, because since COVID, जब भी lockdown आया उसके बाद once we open up, then we always say कि it's a pent up. But the kind of demand we have been witnessing since March and then April and then May, it is not a pent up. Businesses are growing and it is not a pent up demand, it's a regular demand. People need it. And just see the prices of auto companies, right? Auto numbers, sorry. So if you see the prices of autos between versus 2019 and now, so आपको कम से कम वहां से 20-30% का हाइक मिलेगा. आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट द प्राइसेस ऑफ कार्स एंड ऑल. So still consumers are buying, and even consumers are buying more SUVs. What they want a feature. मतलब अभी तो earlier we used to have that kind of mindset कि भाई एक budget car चाहिए, मतलब 4-5 लाख से शुरू हो 7-8 लाख तक मिल जाए. Now what people are saying, there's a change in mentality or change in consumer behavior. Now people are saying कि हमको अच्छा गाड़ी चाहिए, EV हो या हो. So traction is in EV only, and EV Tata, the kind of numbers we have in Nexon Tata का, सब गाड़ियां Nexon का जो बिका है वो 10 लाख से ऊपर है, 10 से 15 तक का उसका प्राइस है. So people are paying for that, right? So from where they are getting the money? So obviously either they were whether they are working or business कुछ भी कर रहे हैं, लेकिन they have that kind of income कि they can buy that kind of car वो सारा. So I guess in last 2-3 months, the industry which I track, like auto ho gaya, textile ho gaya, most of the industries which are in that manufacturing area. So I generally take a feedback. So whatever feedback I've got during last 2-3 months, what they are saying, boss, ki domestically there is no tension. Whatever tension we have, it is either imported, or you can say it is due to global region, or जैसे you are talking about that chip shortage. So it is not our problem, it is the global problem, right? जो shortage हुआ सारा, right? And due to that, all the auto manufacturers are facing the heat. But now the kind of turbulence we had in Ukraine or यूरोप में आप देखिए एनर्जी प्राइसेस कितना बढ़ गया है, उसकी वजह से मैन्युफैक्चरिंग वायबिलिटीज डिक्लाइनिंग डे बाय डे, और यू कैन से वीक ऑन वीक. बहुत सारे मैन्युफैक्चरर्स ने बंद कर दिया प्लांट्स, इतना महंगाई हो गया है, और द काइंड ऑफ रॉ मटेरियल कॉस्ट जो बढ़ गया पूरा. इवन इन ऑटो में आपको देखने को मिलेगा कि बहुत सारे प्लांट्स जो हैं वो कैपेसिटीज पे काम नहीं कर पा रहे हैं. सो दैट एंटायर प्रोडक्शन इज गोइंग टू गेट शिफ्टेड आइदर इन चाइना और इन इंडिया आने वाले टाइम पे आप देखिएगा. सो दिस इज गोइंग टू बी अ वेरी बिग ट्रिगर. आप देखिए मतलब इसमें. सो ऑटो में हो गया, कैपिटल गुड्स में ऑलरेडी टोल्ड यू, कैपिटल गुड्स मैन्युफैक्चरिंग अगर अच्छा करेगा और इंफ्रा अगर अच्छा करेगा तो अल्टीमेटली कैपिटल गुड्स कंपनीज आर गोइंग टू डू गुड, राइट? दिस वन मोर थीम, ये मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में आता है. सो एसी पेनिट्रेशन इज वेरी मच लो, और यू कैन से इट्स too low than global average in India. So companies which are in this which are manufacturing ACs or which are manufacturing ACs part, वो companies अच्छा कर सकती हैं यहाँ पे. तो इस पे आप ध्यान दीजिए, और this is going to be a very good theme for long term as well, right? I've already shared lot of stocks. यहाँ पे आप जो mainstream companies हैं वो ले सकते हो, और the suppliers, there are a lot of companies which generally supply to these companies. So all in all, I guess we should buy this fear, and I'm also buying this fear as a disclosure. and it's a matter of another 2-3 weeks. 4 से ज़्यादा मैं आपको बोल रहा हूँ. उसके बाद you'll see lot of stocks from here in sectors में या selective areas में आपको कम से कम 20-30% ऊपर मिल सकता है. कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है उसमें. Over to Mr. Garg.
I think very valid argument. We can state that various companies who used to be great consistent compounders even have actually tend to correct 30-40% and seems very lucrative in terms of long term averages, long term valuation perspective, right? And you talked about auto sectors, you talked about capital market, you talked about the infra and the property market, the early signs of boom we could see actually in terms of the property market. I think that that's very valid. Let me also welcome Chetan and Rima. If further they do have any questions, so they can shoot. Other than that, we'll keep opening this panel for the audience as well. Over to you, Mr. Chetan and Rima.
Yeah, thank you, Mani. Thanks for the invite for this wonderful session with stock market scientists, sir. Actually, my question was basically more on the macros and all, because we are hearing a lot on the market level, not on the individual stocks, but basically on US inflation. We might have a Fed rate hike on Wednesday itself. RBI has already raised the repo rate. So what I understand from basically from the markets is that the price earning depends obviously on the price. I mean, the price earning of the index level depends on the price earning ratio assigned to it, and the price earnings they get a little heightened during the bull run and get a little compressed during the bearish run. Like if we have a multiple of 20 just now, it can come down if the things get a little bearish or the macros are not improving. The second factor which I understand is that when interest rates go up, the profitability of corporates gets hurt to some extent. So the earnings can also be downgraded. So what is the, I would like to ask stock market scientists, firstly in the Indian context, we'll go to the US context later on, but with all the global slowdown and all the noise we hear, in the Indian context, can the price earning ratio of the index itself get compressed, and can the earnings also take a hit in FY23?
Yes, so earnings are going to take a hit in Q1. Matlab, earnings have already started taking hit from Q4, right? But we're going to see more hits or more earning downgrades in Q1 and Q2. But I believe by that time, by the time Q2 gets over, probably in September, by that time inflation will peak out in India at least, right? And so there are two parts of inflation. One is the inflation in our country. One is the inflation from outside. So there are a lot of commodities or there are a lot of areas where there is an international benchmark. So somehow the kind of inflation we had on global front. So some amount of inflation from globe has been imported in each and every country, right? By some means, whether it is high, let's say crude oil prices है, so that is not in our hand, right? उसकी वजह वो आया वो बढ़ा तो मतलब सबको ही ज्यादा पे करना पड़ा, इंडिया को भी हिट हुआ उससे, but somehow we have mitigated, like रशिया से सस्ता लेके आया कैसे करके जो भी है, but that is something which is going to affect your earning in Q1 and Q2 only, and market has discount that thing in most of the sectors, I believe, right? Specifically in Indian market or even in other markets as well. कि we're going to have this kind of inflation आने वाले 2 quarter तक. We're going to have this kind of EPS downgrade scenario या EPS कम आएगा. Or there are a lot of cases where I'm sure you'd have seen जहाँ पे top line is growing but bottom line is not growing in Q4. So we're going to see similar kind of numbers in Q1 as well, right? कि top line जो है वो grow करा है और bottom line वो pace में grow नहीं करा है, right? Now we don't need to compare this with last year's Q1 because last year we had a lockdown. But I believe macro front में in India, inflation so far is not as challenging as people are talking about. Let me tell you for auto sector I've already told you. For textile, I'm very close to textile sector. I've taken the feedback of at least 7, 8, 9 branded players or 50, 60 non-branded players. I asked them कि आपका प्राइस कितना बढ़ा है. They said कि prices are up from 10 to 30%. जो प्रोडक्ट है उसका, इवन कुछ प्रोडक्ट्स में 40% भी अप हुआ है if we compare with 2019. Right? तो जो एवरेज प्राइसेस what they used to sell in 2019, उससे अभी एवरेज प्राइस जो है वो 30% ऊपर चला गया है, वेदर देयर ट्रांजैक्शन वैल्यू और कुछ भी आप लगा लीजिए. सो व्हाट आई आस्क कि वेदर यू हैव सीन अ डीग्रोथ ड्यू टू हाई प्राइस और नॉट. व्हाट दे आर सेइंग, पीपल आर नॉट माइंडिंग दैट थिंग. मतलब टेक्सटाइल में व्हाट पीपल आर देइंग, व्हाट दे वांट गुड प्रोडक्ट और क्वालिटी प्रोडक्ट. Right? What they are what is the second thing they want is the some amount of discount और जैसे ऑफर्स वगैरह आपको मिलता है, बस नथिंग एल्स. मतलब 100 में से हार्डली एक और तो कंज्यूमर बोल रहा है कि प्राइसेस बहुत ऊपर है. राइट? सो व्हाट इट मींस आइदर दे आर अवेयर अबाउट कि भाई चलो महंगाई का जमाना है, प्राइसेस तो बढ़ेंगे ही. नंबर वन, इट मींस दे हैव ऑलरेडी एब्जॉर्ब्ड दैट प्रेशर, इन्फ्लेशनरी प्रेशर इन एडवांस. मतलब ऐसा कोई लगा नहीं कि प्रेशर आ रहा है अभी तक. राइट? Other thing is that ki somehow they know ki prices are up, but this is the reality. We have to accept that, and they have that kind of income कि चलो ठीक है, सबके प्राइस ऊपर जाएं तो अपैरल के भी जाएंगे, ये चीज है. So this is the feedback that I've got from top branded players which are growing. What they are saying कि prices price मतलब up 30% 40% prior you can say prices, or you can say 30% or 40% growth from 2019 which they have in their price is something which is not hampering their business. मतलब कंज्यूमर कुछ नहीं बोल रहा, कंज्यूमर इज हैप्पी अगर उसको अच्छा प्रोडक्ट मिल जाए और अच्छी सर्विस मिल जाए, ये चीज है. अनदर इंडस्ट्री is your, let's say, auto का मैं already shared an example. Reality में I don't have that kind of much exposure, but basis my understanding, cement का अगर मैं बात करूं तो there was a shortage or there was a very big demand of cement during May and April. मीन्स मिल नहीं पा रहा था, मतलब प्रोडक्शन में चैलेंज नहीं था, प्रोडक्शन ठीक था, लेकिन जो अवेलेबिलिटी थी वो कई जगह पे थी नहीं. बल्क में अगर आपको चाहिए, छोटा नहीं, इफ यू नीड ए सीमेंट इन बल्क देन यू हैव टू ऑर्डर इन एडवांस. वन ऑफ और ये मेरे नोन कुछ लोग हैं जो मतलब हु आर डेवलपर्स और कॉन्ट्रैक्टर्स जिनका बड़ा काम है, तो दे सेड कि वी आर नॉट एबल टू गेट दैट सीमेंट. मतलब प्राइस भी ऊपर है लेकिन मिल नहीं पा रही है, हमको एडवांस में ऑर्डर देना पड़ रहा है, ओके बाद मिल रही है. सो आई गेस ऑन मैक्रो फ्रंट इन इंडिया कोई बड़ा चैलेंज नहीं है. माइक्रो में हो सकता है कुछ चैलेंजेस हैं, बट मैक्रो फ्रंट पे देयर इज नो नॉट दैट काइंड ऑफ चैलेंज व्हिच मार्केट इज थिंकिंग और जहां पे लोग रेट कर रहे हैं. यस, ग्लोबली विल कम टू दैट, ग्लोबली देयर आर लॉट ऑफ चैलेंजेस.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Yeah, globally we'll come to that question later on. Once we start off once we finish off India, with covering India will take such a long time. I think we'll keep that for the last only. But you have given a good reply that the demand destruction, which is the more relevant point, is not there, is not apparent in most of the sectors as of now. So going forward, we can see, and as you said, the pent-up demand is there in a few of the sectors. That is much more important for us, because if we look at the period between 2003 to 7 also, we had moderate inflation and we had very good growth and a booming stock market. So inflation along with growth can also be possible in the economy, which is a better thing for an emerging economy like India. I mean, moderate inflation, not very high. So I will come to the question on oil prices and global things later on. Just now we have one of our other friends. Yes, sir.
Chetan,
Yes, sir.
sorry. So there is one more thing that which I would like to add, which I have seen on ground. Personally, myself as a consumer, and on-ground activity. So if you see the travel space, right, during last 6-7 months, it is the buzzing, space. So earlier last year, like when June, people were rushing to many, cities or towns and all. Manali का आया कि भाई वहाँ पे beds नहीं मिल रहा है, right? So that was due to pent up, right? People said कि it was a pent up demand. Lockdown रहा तो लोग जा नहीं पाए. But now, since September, October, जो टूरिस्ट का डिमांड है वो सिर्फ डिक्लाइन किया था जनवरी में. वी हैड सीन अ डिक्लाइन ड्यू टू ओमिक्रॉन, वो भी हार्डली 1 मंथ के लिए. उसके बाद आई हैव सीन, आई यूज्ड टू टॉक टू ऑल द ऑल द पीपल हु आर देयर इन दीज सिटीज, जो बड़े टूरिस्ट डेस्टिनेशंस हैं, मतलब वेदर इट इज शिमला एंड ऑल, और या राजस्थान में भी कई हैं, जहाँ पे भी इतना पूछा कि मतलब वेदर यू आर डूइंग गुड और नॉट, व्हाट दे आर सेइंग कि फॉरेनर जो था वो जितना आता था, अभी उससे ज्यादा डोमेस्टिक के लोग आ रहे हैं। देयर इज अ वेरी बिग अमाउंट ऑफ रश इन लेजर ट्रैवलिंग। बिजनेस ट्रैवल तो बड़ा ही बड़ा है, बिजनेस ट्रैवल तो ऑब्वियसली कोविड के बाद डाउन हो गया था, तो वो तो हो ही रहा है, बट लेजर ट्रैवलिंग हैज पिक्ड अप अ लॉट, और यू कैन से हैज सब्सटेंशियली गॉन अप। पूरा वो कर रहे हैं। तो लेट मी शेयर अ वेरी recent एग्जांपल ऑफ उदयपुर, वेरी पॉपुलर सिटी नोन एज अ लेक सिटी। वहां पे अभी कुछ नया पूल्स एंड और ओपन अप हुए हैं। उसके बाद ही वो खुलने के बाद उसकी न्यूज से, बिकॉज वी हैव, मतलब उदयपुर जनरली get lot of footfall from Gujarat, specifically from Ahmedabad. तो गुजरात से काफी लोग वहाँ पे वीकेंड्स में आते हैं। सो वो पूल्स और कुछ नई डेस्टिनेशन जैसे खुली है ना, उसके बाद सडनली वो उसका फुटफॉल बढ़ गया, मतलब लोग और आने लग गए वहाँ पे। एंड वो आने के बाद होटल्स वाले या जो वहाँ के रिटेलर्स हैं, और दे आर सेइंग कि हमारा जो नंबर है, एवरेज नंबर, वीकली नंबर जो होता है, वो 10% और होने लग गया। एक दो हफ्ते तक हुआ, अभी वो स्टैटिक तो नहीं रहेगा, बट आई एम जस्ट टेलिंग यू द सिनेरियो, राइट? So if we are going to have the same kind of situation आने वाले टाइम पे, then this could be a very good theme going forward to play in stock market as well. और इकोनॉमी के लिए तो अच्छा है कि business travel is picking up in India, and number two is leisure travel. Leisure travel पहले नहीं था, but अभी I don't know what is the trigger. I guess COVID could be a trigger, but you have seen, मतलब I have seen a very substantial pickup in leisure travel पिछले 6 महीना में। मतलब it is not pent up कि भाई हर महीने कुछ ना कुछ आ रहा है। इवन इफ यू सी, जस्ट आस्क एनी ट्रैवलर जो अच्छा खासा एक्सपोजर है जिसका ट्रैवलिंग में, कि लास्ट ईयर सितंबर में क्या हुआ था। सितंबर में मतलब लोग जाते ही नहीं है। सितंबर इज ए नॉन, यू कैन से, और अ डल मंथ फॉर दिस ट्रैवलिंग कंपनीज, और जो ये होता है। बट लास्ट ईयर सितंबर में काफी लोग गोवा और ये सब डेस्टिनेशंस पे थे। तो आई बिलीव दिस इज गोइंग टू पिक अप अ लॉट। अभी नए डेस्टिनेशन एक्सप्लोर होंगे, और अभी प्राइवेट फर्म्स भी काफी यहाँ पे इन्वेस्ट कर रही है सब चीजों में, अच्छे अच्छे स्पॉट्स को देख। लेट्स सी।
Thank you, Stock Market sir. And then we can go into Mr. Mohsin. Mr. Mohsin, you wanted to ask a question?
Yeah, hello everyone. Good evening, everyone. Myself Mohsin Safi, and I am working in Greater Noida real estate market. I am assistant vice president. This is my company. My company name is Anas Realtors India. Hello.
Yeah, your question, Mr. Mohsin, you want to ask a question?
No sir, मैं तो मुझे तो आपकी लोगों की बातें बहुत अच्छी लगी सुन के। मैं स्टॉक मार्केट के बारे में इतना नहीं जानता हूँ,
तो आप रियल एस्टेट मार्केट के बारे में हमें कुछ बाइट बताइए जी कि क्या चल रहा है। आप कह रहे
आप ये बताइए डिमांड। हाँ सॉरी चेतन, आप ये बताइए अप्रैल में देयर वाज अ सब्सटेंशियल पिकअप ऑफ डिमांड और नॉट। मतलब कुछ एरियाज में, कुछ जगह पे मैंने सुना था कि सीमेंट का अवेलेबिलिटी अगर आपको बल्क में चाहिए तो आपको एडवांस में ऑर्डर करना पड़ेगा।
जो आपने सुना है वो एक्चुअली वो ठीक था, जो अप्रैल का था टाइम था, जो आप बात कर रहे हैं लॉकडाउन के पीरियड की या अभी फिलहाल की?
नहीं, करंट अप्रैल।
करंट अप्रैल में तो सर, जो पहली बात तो जो भी साइट पर कंस्ट्रक्शन चल रही है, हमारे जो भी प्रोजेक्ट हैं कंपनी के, वो सारे पे सारे, क्योंकि जो बिल्डर ने पहले से ही क्या नाम है स्टॉक में लिया हुआ होता है सारा का सारा, क्योंकि कोई बल्क में ही आता है सारा, क्योंकि रियल एस्टेट में जो भी मटेरियल आता है वो बल्क में ही आएगा।
राइट।
हाँ, वो बल्क में ही आता है सारा, क्योंकि ट्रक्स लगते हैं पूरे के पूरे हमारे यहाँ, हमारी सारी सोसाइटी अंडर
और
प्रोजेक्ट्स पे।
किसी ने कोई सडन प्लान किया, सपोज करो किसी का डील साइन हो गया एंड उनको अभी अप्रैल में कंस्ट्रक्शन स्टार्ट करना है, तो उनको मिल नहीं पाया होगा जल्दी से।
फिलहाल ऐसे तो कोई प्रोजेक्ट अभी हमारे चल नहीं रहे हैं जिनको सडनली स्टार्ट करना हो, लेकिन हाँ ये कि हमारे जो भी प्रोजेक्ट है वो सारे के सारे अंडर, जो भी प्रोजेक्ट है रेडी टू मूव इन पोजीशन आ चुके हैं, कुछ अंडर कंस्ट्रक्शन प्रोसेस पे चल रहे हैं।
राइट। एंड वो की वजह से जो अल्ट्राटेक इतना बड़ा कैपेसिटी अभी उसने प्लान किया लाने का, उसको करना पड़ा। मतलब आप सोचो कि उसने लास्ट इतनी बड़ी कैपेसिटी कब लगाई थी। आप अगर जाके देखोगे अल्ट्राटेक ने तो बहुत पहले लगाई होगी, और जो उसने 12,000 या कितना कुछ का प्लान किया है, इट इज सिग्निफिकेंट। सो दे नो कि भाई आने वाले टाइम पे ऐसी सिचुएशन फिर कभी आए तो उससे पहले हमारे पास अवेलेबिलिटी हो। राइट। एंड दिस इज नेगेटिव एंड पॉजिटिव बोथ। नेगेटिव है छोटी कंपनीज के लिए कि इतना बड़ा प्लेयर इतना बड़ा प्लांट लगा देगा तो कहीं ना कहीं बहुत बड़ा बल्क वॉल्यूम वो उठा लेगा, तो शायद शेयर खा जाएगा उनका। और पॉजिटिव है कि कहीं ना कहीं जो बूस्ट आने वाला है आगे इंफ्रा में, तो वो उसके लिए कर रहा है ना, कुछ तो है, मतलब इतना बड़ा वो लोग पैसा लगा रहे हैं, तो मतलब देयर इज सम ट्रिगर, ये चीज है। लेट्स सी। थैंक यू मोहसिन।
जी बिल्कुल आपने सही कहा, क्योंकि मार्केट में तो पहले भी, क्योंकि जो मार्केट में जितने भी प्रोजेक्ट चल रहे हैं मार्केट के, ग्रेटर नोएडा के ले लीजिए पूरे प्रोजेक्ट, आप जेवर तक चले जाओ, इस टाइम जो भी मार्केट में इस टाइम इतना बूम है कि जिसकी कोई हद नहीं है। एक तो सबसे पहली बात है कि बायर सबसे ज़्यादा मार्केट में उतर चुका है, जिसकी वजह से पोजीशन टाइम पे प्रोजेक्ट को डिलीवर टाइम पे ही देना ज़रूरी है बिल्डर के लिए।
राइट
उसके लिए वो सबसे पहले मटेरियल का स्टॉक पहले रखता है।
राइट।
और इस टाइम जो मार्केट में जो प्राइसिंग इंक्रीज हुई है, उसका असर बायर पे पड़ रहा है, क्योंकि जो हम प्राइस आज से मार्च के महीने की बात करें तो मार्च के मंथ में हम जो प्राइस, जो फ्लैट हम 3800 में बेच रहे थे, 3800 में सेल्स कर रहे थे, आज वो 440 पे सेल हो रहा है, 440 पे सेल हो रहा है।
सो ऑलमोस्ट 15% ऊपर हो गया है तो।
बिल्कुल, यानी कि जो 2 BH की फ्लैट की अगर मैं कॉस्टिंग की बात करूं, हम 38 लाख में ऑल इंक्लूसिव देते थे, आज हम 45 में दे रहे हैं।
राइट। तो वही मैं बोल रहा हूँ ना, मतलब आपका देखो, आपका जो कॉस्ट है उसमें वो तो सेम रहेगा, वो तो चेंज नहीं होएगा ना, वट एवर कॉस्ट आपने, लेकिन आपको अगर एक अच्छा प्राइस मिलता है 15% ऊपर, तो इट्स अ बिग बूस्ट फॉर योर मार्जिन एज वेल एज योर, मतलब आपका टॉप लाइन बॉटम लाइन दोनों बूस्ट हो जाएगा। तो दिस इज अ सिनेरियो इन मेनी रियल एस्टेट कंपनीज एज वेल। मुंबई बेस्ड जो कंपनीज है, मुंबई बेस्ड, वो में आप देखिए, आपको कई कंपनीज मिल जाएंगी लिस्टेड कंपनी, मैं नाम नहीं लूंगा किसी का, उनके साथ ये सेम सिनेरियो जो है प्ले हुआ है पिछले 2-3 महीने में। तो आप चेक करिए जाके, कहाँ पे वो लोग डिस्क्लोजर देते रहते हैं मंथली सेल्स एंड ऑल का, वहां पे शायद आपको कुछ 1-2 स्टॉक्स मिल जाए। यस।
एक्चुअली क्या है, मेरी वर्किंग तो अभी जो चल रही है ग्रेटर नोएडा एंड गोवा। मैं अभी हाल में ही मैंने गोवा ज्वाइन करा है, साउथ गोवा के जो विलाज होते हैं, मैं वहाँ की सारी प्रॉपर्टीज देख रहा हूँ अब जा जाके।
गोवा में आपको बहुत जल्दी रशिया का बहुत बड़ा इन्वेस्टमेंट देखने को मिलेगा।
हाँ, क्योंकि वहाँ पे इन्वेस्टर पॉइंट बहुत अच्छा है, और दूसरी
नहीं,
बात है जो
रशिया इंटरेस्ट ले रहा है उसमें बहुत ज्यादा अभी,
बहुत
इसके
ज़्यादा।
बाद।
और जो मेरे पास जो प्रोजेक्ट हैं जो साउथ गोवा के, वो सारे बीच के विलाज हैं मेरे पास, जिनको मैं
वेरी
सेल
नाइस,
कर रहा हूँ 4 करोड़ के अंदर।
वेरी नाइस।
हम्म।
Great.
So we have more speakers, so let's co-create something like this from Jiten, Jainesh.
Jiten, you can unmute yourself and you can ask your question now. If you want to give a
Hi.
brief, you can also give a
Yeah.
brief about yourself.
Yeah. Good evening. I'm just a investor, and I have a particular question regarding sugar sector. So, so what are your views regarding the sugar stocks which have already run up like 3x, 4x? But in view of 2 points, like there is the production has been very good this year, but on the other hand, the government is still trying to impose some export duty. Like it's not out in the news, but what are your views on sugar sector as a whole?
So long-term prospects are good because it's not a commodity sector anymore since the time we have that news of ethanol blending and all. And so, देखो अभी you need to think in two way. First of all, prices of sugar, or the base price of sugar will go up in next next 2-3 years. That is sure. वो जाना ही
Yeah.
है, जाना है ऊपर में, उस मतलब you can't stop that because we have been, so if you see the average MSP rate of sugar in last 2-3 years, तो वही 3200-3300 रुपए दे रही है सरकार. So they have to increase that फ्रॉम फार्मर्स पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू। तो वो उनके पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से सोचना पड़ेगा, इलेक्शंस भी आ रहे हैं तो वो होएगा, आपको देखने को मिलेगा, नंबर 1 पॉजिटिवली। नंबर 2 इज द एथेनॉल साइड। सो एथेनॉल ब्लेंडिंग में वट एवर टारगेट दे हैव कि 20% ब्लेंड टिल 2025, अभी 10% हो गया, आधा हो गया, तो दे आर समहाउ दे आर पिकिंग अप वेरी वेल। So वहां पे भी you need to see which companies have very good kind of capacities like Triveni, Balrampur, और I've already shared few names,
AM
है ना,
sugar.
बड़े नाम्स ये में अच्छे कर सकते हैं। तो ये कंपनीज हैं जहाँ पे होल्डिंग काफी अच्छी रहेगी।
But
साथ के साथ में there is one more space, कंपनीज, शुगर कंपनीज डिस्टिलरीज को भी बना के देती हैं कुछ ना कुछ,
yeah.
राइट? उनके
Okay.
पास भी एक प्रीमियम मार्केट गेन करने का रहेगा। सो देयर इज वन मोर ट्रिगर व्हिच वी मे हैव इन 2023 or probably in 2022 as well, depends on the Praj, the kind of experiment which Praj is doing. So now ethanol blending is limited to petrol only, right? डीजल लेकिन इंडिया में अभी अगर टोटल फ्यूल कंजप्शन देखोगे तो डीजल 60 है, पेट्रोल 40 होगा, या थोड़ा ऊपर नीचे हो सकता है, आई एम नॉट श्योर, ये पहले का इक्वेशन आपको बता रहा हूँ. सो डीजल का कंजप्शन अभी भी ज्यादा है हर जगह पे, राइट? तो डीजल में अगर कुछ आविष्कार होता है, इफ प्राज कैन डू समथिंग कि इट के यू नो कम्स विद काइंड ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी इसमें डीजल में भी ब्लेंडिंग हो एथेनॉल की, और so then it will be a very significant booster for.
Yeah, sorry, but this is all speculation that this might happen. और जैसे अभी स्टील सेक्टर पे एक्सपोर्ट ड्यूटी लगा दी है, तो but they have already run up like Balrampur Chini and all that. They are already 2x 3x from their 2000 last years. So this is all factored in.
So whatever they have done, that is factored in. What they are going to do, that is not factored in yet, right? So वो पे आपको देखो, आपको इन्वेस्ट करना है तो आपको क्या होने वाला है उस पे करेंगे. जो हो चुका है वो शायद फैक्टर इन है, या हो सकता है शॉर्ट टर्म में कुछ नेगेटिव भी होएगा, वो फैक्टर इन हो गया हो अभी कि भाई लाइक यू सेड कि एक्सपोर्ट ड्यूटी लगा दिया या कुछ लगा दिया तो उससे मार्जिन इंपैक्ट करेंगे, कुछ इंपैक्ट करेगा, दैट हैज बीन फैक्टर्ड इन. बट लॉन्ग टर्म में क्या होने वाला है उस पे जितना आपका सर्टेनिटी या जितना फर्म आपका व्यू है, बेसिस दैट यू नीड टू मेक द डिसीजन, है ना? कि ये अगर होने वाला है, ये स्पेकुलेशन कम, सर्टेनिटी ज्यादा लग रहा है या पॉसिबिलिटी ज्यादा लग रही है, देन यू नीड टू गो अहेड विद दैट, है ना? लेकिन इफ आपका व्यू कन्विक्शन ऐसा बनता है कि यार यहाँ पे स्पेकुलेशन ज्यादा हो सकता है, सर्टेनिटी का थोड़ा कम चांस है, देन आप लिमिटेड एक्सपोजर रखिए उस पे. हाँ,
Okay, thank you. जैसे
और सर्टेनिटी आती है तो एक्सपोजर बढ़ा लीजिए.
Okay, yeah. I was reading about this company like KM Sugar Mills. It is on all three fronts जो आपने बताया. Like it is providing ethanol, it is providing distillery, and obviously sugar export. So, but it is valuation wise, it's still cheaper than Balrampur Chini and Twari, but it's still run up like 4x, 5x already. But like you
देखो
said,
ये मैंने ट्रेडिंग के लिए लिया था. आई हैव रिकमेंडेड दिस कंपनी अराउंड 23, 24, 25, उसके बाद 40 तक गया, तो इट वाज अ ट्रेडिंग प्ले. इट वाज एन यू कैन से वेरी इजी 50% और 60% काइंड ऑफ रिटर्न. तो उसके बाद एग्जिट कर दिया, ज्यादा दिमाग इसलिए नहीं लगा बिकॉज कैपेसिटी एक्सपेंशन का इनका कोई इतना खास बड़ा प्लान नहीं है. तो अच्छी जो करंट कैपेसिटी है उसी में अच्छा कर रहे हैं, तो हो सकता है कि आगे चैलेंज आए तो इतना अच्छा ना कर पाए. So we have to bet on the companies जहाँ पे कैपेसिटी एक्सपेंशन है, वही ज्यादा बड़ा कुछ यहाँ पे कर पाएंगे, else यहाँ पे ट्रेडिंग अपॉर्चुनिटीज रहेंगी छोटी कंपनीज.
Okay. Thank you for your advice.
Thank you.
Yeah, just a disclaimer from my side once again that this is just for knowledge sharing. Please use your own discretion and contact your own financial planner before taking any decision. Anything discussed here is just for knowledge purpose. Yeah, and coming back to the lineup of speakers, we have SAINIK sir with us, Vijay NS. He's the expert in the market. I've been in the market for the past 3 decades. According to himself, he has fallen down many times, Harshad Mehta boom time, many other times, and got up. He also shares a similar view like stock market scientist, sir, that the markets would be resilient in the coming days. And SAINIK sir, if you would like to share some of your views.
Yeah, thank you, Chetan, sir. I only have to disagree with one thing, that I'm not an expert. I'm just an experienced guy, a soldier of the market in more ways than one. So I was very, very bearish macro levels in the market since August of last year. Extraordinarily bearish, and I've written extensively about it. I conducted my clubhouse sessions, which I do on Sundays at 8:30. Today I was out of town, so I could not do it. So I became neutral on May 12th. And then subsequently, after analyzing the data, I have become bullish. So my data tells me that I should not have any short positions right now. So that is as far as the macro is concerned. I mean, I've considered all the macro factors. I'm basically a macro kind of a guy. I look at all kinds of things outside just stocks. So that told me to be very bearish on the markets worldwide since last August, September. And it's also asked me to look at it positively from May 12th. So having said that, now in terms of stocks and sectors, because I think this is the topic, this is stock investing, it says. So I'm just thinking, because I just got into the, into the room just now. So I'm assuming it's only about stocks, so sectors. So now what can...
One second, Sainik sir, I'll just interrupt you. It is not only about stocks. I think the title was written later on, but it is also, we had discussed macros with stock market scientist sir, and he's also of the similar opinion like you, that the macros may be a little bit challenging, but not for India so much, because there's a lot of pent up demand. He gave the example of leisure travel going up. Someone gave another of the listener, Mohitin sir, gave some demand. Real estate demand is coming back. He's in AVP in the real estate sector. Then obviously sir had many other factors. So he believes that the macros are not challenging. It is stock market, it is stock investing, but we're not going so much on the stocks. We are going overall on the stock market itself. The Indian stock market, maybe the global stock markets may be a little more challenging. But what would you say about the macros in the, like there might be a US Fed rate hike on Wednesday itself, and RBI has already preempted that in a way by raising the repo rate. But going ahead, like, do you think the earnings and all could take a bit of hit with the interest rates going up in the Indian economy? And could the pent up demand, could there be demand destruction in the economy itself?
Yeah, thanks, Chetan sir. See, I have outlined what my thinking is. I generally don't hedge my bets. I am either this side or that side. And CG is here with me. He's my moderator in my clubhouse forever, actually. So many of people who have come here will know what my views are on the macros. See, I was the first to raise alarm last year on the inflation thing. I said we are heading into stagflation, and people who are talking of inflation being transitory is wrong. And I was challenged a sufficient number of times. I stuck on to my guns because based on my understanding, somewhere in May, June, July, August, it was very clear that inflation is going to be a big bugbear of this year. And I did write a thread on end of December 2021, where I mentioned that you see 2022 will be challenging and will probably hit 14K by Deepavali. This was what my prediction was, and I had given specific my thinking. Let's not say predictions. I hate this word prediction because I am just one of those guys who just outline my views based on prevailing situation. So I was very bearish on tech at that time. It was, I think, 38,000 was the CNX IT, and I was expecting it to fall down significantly. And I had mentioned that the day the tech rec is completed, that is the day when the market will bottom out. And I think every strategist was talking of getting into hiding into tech at that point of time. I think tech peaked out at 39 or something, and I think it has come down to what, 22 or something, 32 or something, 32, I think so. So not that my predictions are absolutely right or something, but it was very clear at that point of time. It was also very clear that we were in a bear market because we are seeing lower high and lower lows, and that's from October 19th. And the behavior was very much typical bear market behavior, which is sudden 1,000-point rise and then sudden 1,000-point fall. This is very, very typical bear market behavior. So I outlined that in my prediction, this one for 2022. So I was looking at around 14,000 for the Nifty to go. Why? Because typically markets have fallen between 20 and 30% in a bear market. So 25% is 14,000. So I thought median number should be 14,000. Nothing sacrosanct about it, but it's just past bear markets have behaved like that. They behave between 12 and 14 months and between 20 and 30%. So now what happened, I had also thought that the first level of selling will end in March. Not in March exactly, first quarter. So it did end there, and then it started its journey up. So I had no reason to change it because it was falling in line with what my thinking was. Now, what happened in May, which made me change my mind dramatically, was that while the Nifty almost did a double bottom vis-a-vis March, the Bank Nifty did not do. Bank Nifty did a higher bottom, and the FMCG did a higher bottom. The auto sector, many stocks in the auto sector did a higher bottom. Banking, some of them did a higher bottom. And PSC stocks, public sector enterprise stocks, did a higher bottom, the index. And most important was Reliance. Reliance made an all-time high. So normally I'm a great Reliance believer because I'm the old 80s guy. I used to invest since 80s, so I had great regard for Reliance because Dhirubhai Ambani, and that has continued. I generally don't short Reliance. I never, almost never short Reliance. Whatever it is the lodestar of Indian stock market because I followed Dhirubhai Ambani from his I mean 80s days. So I know how they operate in terms of both the stock as well as the company itself. So therefore, I was completely taken aback when I saw Reliance making an all-time high, which many people have missed. Now, Reliance, for people who follow, know that when Reliance makes a high, then you can be sure that the bear market is over. Now, you go back to 2020 in June, I think Reliance made a new high. Well, the market was confused as to whether Corona will kill the market or not kill the market. There was a lot of volatility during those days. But one stock made a new high, which was Reliance, before everyone else. Then I think second one was Hindustan Unilever. These were the two stocks which made a new high. Mostly Reliance, I would say. I would focus on Reliance. So Reliance made a new high in April, which gave me a sense of confidence that this bear market is, let's say it's going to become very difficult for the market to go down below the March levels. I went back and looked at stocks. I went and looked at the proportion of stocks which are below 50%, that is from their all-time highs. So I saw 50% of the stocks were below 50%. Okay. So this has happened in February of 2016. I'm basically a data man. So I compared that February 2016 with this, which I've done. I've done a thread. It's there in my timeline. People interested can have a look. There are a lot of similarities between then and to February 2016 and May 2020. So therefore, and then when I looked at a sentiment, for instance, sentiment was extraordinarily poor globally, which was equivalent to what was happening during 9/11. That is 2001 on September 11, when the World Trade Centers got destroyed. So these were things which were the cash by the strategists was about same as at that point of time. That means they were wholly in cash. They were against equities. They were against EMs. And India is EM market. So all that made me feel that sentiment is poor. Then all the bad news has been baked in. And everybody knows this. I jokingly called it saying, I know inflation is a bugbear. My neighbor knows it, and my neighbor's dog also knows it, because dog is getting a smaller biscuit. So everybody knows it. And whatever little I know of the market for the last 30 plus years is that the market doesn't react to the same bad news twice. So if you have inflation, if you have Fed, if you have RBI, or if you have anything, the same news cannot move the market down second time around. I give an example. This Corona, for instance, 2020 March, everybody panicked because it was the first time it hit us. 2021, the damage was much more. The Corona second wave, but the market never fell down beyond a point. So this is very characteristic of the market, that markets will never react. So today, if somebody tells me that RBI is there, or Fed is there, or ECB is there, this is known to everybody. So now for the market to go significantly below this 15,600 level or 15,500, people are talking 14, 13, 12, 11, 10 and all that. In fact, I'm doing a clubhouse session this week on whether we'll hit 10,000 or 20,000. Very provocative title, but I have done some research on that, and I will say why it can hit 10,000, why it can hit 20,000. Anyway, let's leave this aside. Very quickly, I'll summarize saying that this market has to find a new set of bad news for it to go up. If you tell me any of the news which we are talking about, inflation, RBI, all that, that's all over. Now something else has to happen, like maybe China hitting this one, or some other thing which I am going to outline later. But right now, some new news which we don't know today should hit us. Then you can expect a market to go lower. Nothing else, generally nothing else should bring down the market lower. This is how it has happened in the past. And when I said 14,000, now when I looked at the numbers, most of the stocks, big stocks, are trading at 12,000, 13,000 levels. So therefore that 14,000, technically the target has been hit. And among the sectors which are supposed to be badly hit because of all this inflation and all that were interest rate sensitive, which is banks, which is FMCG, and which is autos. All three are doing extraordinarily well, especially autos. Autos, I think, are will be the surprise package going forward. There, a number of stocks that are there, and I believe strongly one sector which will lead this is autos, followed by FMCG, and Reliance, of course, is the king of the jungle. Reliance, I think, will go to prices which we cannot visualize today. As I said to somebody, that this rally will happen, which will shock both the bulls and the bears. It is not going to only shock the bulls or the bears; it will shock both of them because. And I don't care too much about what happens globally and all that. They'll all fall in line, or we maybe will decouple. We don't know that. So whatever. Incidentally, one more point before I close is if you look at Ukraine and Russia war, the one continent which is supposed to be affected most would be Europe. In that one country most affected should be Germany. Kindly look at the DAX. The DAX has made a low in March. It has not made a new low in May, whereas Dow Jones and all that have made new lows in May on the US markets. So if DAX, which is in the center of the fight, is not able to make a new low in spite of everything, then I think the market is telling you something. I strongly believe in the theory of Bhav hi Bhagwan hai. So I think Bhav is telling us, do not be negative on this market. Thank you.
Thank you, SAINIK sir. Before I bring in stock market scientist sir to comment on whatever you have said, I like that remark that even your dog knows about the inflation because his biscuit has got smaller. So that is a nice
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. Thank you. And stock market sir, what would you like to say to SAINIK sir, or what would you like to say in reference to whatever SAINIK sir has said?
I guess SAINIK sir has covered all the points which we have already discussed, I guess, and I pretty much agreed with him, specifically in the scenario the way he has explained the macro factors and specifically the sentiments, right? So now people now people are talking about bear market and all, specifically after May, the kind of brutal fall we have witnessed in the month of May. So now people are talking about the bear market, right? So I guess until unless we have that significant, or you can say we have a we have that kind of strength which we need in a bull market. Till that time, people will keep in that kind of dilemma, or you can say skepticism. Ki market will fall again. This is a bear market rally, or this is just a bounce and all. And by that time, somehow people are waiting for some strong, or some good signals. Ki whether the whether the lows which we had seen in the month of May were bottom or not, just to confirm that. So I believe till the time जब तक आएगा कि वो सोचेंगे और सब कुछ होगा अच्छा होंगे, and they will feel हम लोग late हो गए समझने में, right? So I believe this is a right time, and the kind of time correction we were into, or we have been since 8-9 months, right? Signs like SAINIK sir said last year were quite visible on the charts as well. If you see technically, so there were a lot of stocks or indexes, or specifically the Nifty or the small cap index. आप check कीजिए, specifically in the January. So RSI negative diversion on weekly charts, lot of things. उसके बाद किसी ने ध्यान नहीं दिया because sentiments were quite. The time we had that announcement of that war between Russia and Ukraine, उसके बाद थोड़ा sentiment नीचे गया, and then again the kind of rally we have witnessed from March lows April mid तक, तो सबको लगा कि सब कुछ ठीक हो गया अभी, मतलब ये चीज है. और उसके बाद फिर ये I guess this was the final phase of this time and price correction. So we have seen a good amount of time correction as well as price correction जो भी pending था. We in the month of May. Somehow what prices were saying in the month of May was like कि मैं पहले bottom बना देता हूँ. To be very frank, in some sectors or in some stocks ऐसा लग रहा था कि bottom बनाने की जल्दी है, या कह सकते हो कि हम अपना fall को complete कर लेते हैं और थोड़ा बचा कुछ जो time correction है वो जब market अभी range bound रहेगा उसमें निकाल लेंगे और उसके बाद we'll start rallying. Even there are some stocks which have shown a new all-time high as well. हम लोग काफी बार बात कर चुके हैं, whether it is a defense theme or your auto में TVS का अपना वो देखिए, काफी stocks ने नया high भी लगाया May के बाद, May का वो fall के बाद. So I believe we should stay with these sectors. Again, I'm saying because the chances of making money in auto, FMCG, infra, selective infra names, or you can say capital goods, are pretty much higher than in other sectors. वो में भी पैसा बनेगा, but वहाँ पे I would suggest, personally I would trade in those areas or those sectors, specifically like metal हो गया, or sectors which are related to commodities, because commodities sectors से related जो sectors हैं, so there you are going to see a decline in prices of commodities काफी ज्यादा unless that commodities is very exclusive और कुछ हटके like cotton है. Cotton में I don't see that kind of decline which we are going to witness in other commodities. Cotton candy का prices आप मान के चलिए अक्टूबर तक हाई रहेगा. आप रोक ही नहीं सकते because demand की वजह से नहीं, shortage की वजह से वो. Because श्रीलंका अच्छा प्रोड्यूसर है, लेकिन श्रीलंका में वी हैव सीन दैट काइंड ऑफ क्राइसिस जो हुआ, तो कॉज ऑफ दैट ऑब्वियसली हर एरिया पे, हर सेक्टर पे देयर इज एन और भी बहुत सारे रीजंस हैं, मल्टीपल रीजंस हैं जिसकी वजह से कॉटन, क्योंकि कॉटन का प्रोडक्शन जो है वो इट इज नॉट अ मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कि आपने एक दिन में उसको रॉ मटेरियल को अरेंज किया और लगा दिया. इट्स अ प्रोसेस, राइट? इट्स अ नेचुरल प्रोसेस. आपको बोना पड़ेगा, कॉटन होएगा, उसके बाद 5 या 6 महीने के बाद आप उसका प्लकिंग और सारा कुछ होता है, और उसके बाद फिर कॉटन नया मार्केट में आता है. तो आई गेस ये जो नेक्स्ट अभी जो कॉटन का अभी हो रहा है इंडिया में और प्लस अदर कंट्रीज में, जो एशियन कंट्री का मैं बात कर रहा हूँ, यहाँ पे कॉटन जो है, फ्रेश कॉटन जो है सितंबर से आना शुरू होएगा. टिल दैट टाइम आपको प्राइसेस ऊपर ही देखने को मिलेंगे, नीचे नहीं जाएंगे जल्दी से. सो दिस इज द स्पेशल सिचुएशन कमोडिटी जहाँ पे प्राइसेस ऊपर से नीचे ज्यादा नहीं आएंगे, बाकी सब में आपको देखने को मिलेगा decline. And if you see very good amount of decline in other commodities, then it means कि जो sectors उससे connected हैं या वो commodity को बनाते हैं या इंटरनेशनल प्राइसेस पे डिपेंड करते हैं, तो वहां पे आपको फॉल इन टॉप लाइन एंड बॉटम लाइन दोनों में देखने को मिलेगा, सिक्लिकल जो हम लोग बोलते हैं. बट सिमिलरली जो सेक्टर्स इन कमोडिटीज को एज ए रॉ मटेरियल यूज करते हैं, इनमें बहुत बड़ा जंप आपको मार्जिन्स में देखने को मिलेगा, एंड मार्केट इज गोइंग टू फैक्टर दैट इन एडवांस. जब तक आप एक व्यू बनाओगे, टिल दैट टाइम यू आर गोइंग टू मेक दैट व्यू कि दिस वुड हैपन. तब तक हो सकता है कि आपको कोई स्टॉक अच्छा है तो वो 30-40% ऊपर मिले, फिर वहां पे हिम्मत नहीं होगी लेने की, अपने को लगेगा मिस कर दिया है शायद ना. सो आई गेस if you want to miss anything or you can say if you don't want कि आगे मेरे को ऐसा ना सोचना पड़े, तो you should look now and you should look into these sectors again, as multiple times Chetan has already said or disclosed that thing कि भाई please research और take an advice of your investment advisor अच्छे से करके, उसके बाद ही decision आप लेने का है. Over to Chetan.
Thank you, sir. You've explained everything so beautifully, and even before SAINIK sir had come, he had explained a lot of points. So it was, and SAINIK sir has reiterated in his own way, which any of us cannot imitate. I especially like that one or two of his examples, and there were many other things which he told us, which are very relevant points, considering that he has been in the market for the past 32 years, which is a long time, and he admits that he has fallen many times. Market में गिरते भी हैं, and like a basketball, you bounce back. So in life also you bounce back, in the markets also you bounce back, if you have your risk management, risk tolerance, asset allocation, everything correct, as you know. Anyway, sir, I will go to the next speaker, Mr. Jayesh. You have raised your hand. You wanted to ask something?
Hello, myself Jayesh, and I am an equity and strategy analyst at GCGA Private Limited. So basically, I want to add 2-3 things that stock market scientist has told. Firstly, like on steel sector. So as if you are all are aware that in China that front loaded its facial stimulus is to the steel industry is going to announce in July, if I am not wrong, and China has announced that it will offer more than 140 billion yuan, that is $21 billion in additional tax relief, as it seeks to offset the impact of coronavirus lockdown that have been wetted the economy in China basically. So most of the thing is as a stock market scientist sir told me. So as we see, there are high chances the first sector that can reverse or for a short-term outlook as during the volatility, as or the topic is stock market investing during the volatility. So thing is that in coming weeks or month, you can see a sharp up move in cement sector as well as in steel sector, like 15 to 20% uprise from the current levels, as the China, because there are also price cutting is also going on in US in aluminum sectors and other. But as the China is the leader in steel sector, if China gives the stimulus to the economy for this steel sector, it will help Tata Steel, Hindalco and other JSPL like that. and its disclaimer that you must advise to your financial advisor before taking any action. So, and second most thing I want to just add that as on said on auto sector, as auto sector is performing well enough, but as an auto ancillary, you can also see that one of the sector is of battery, that is also key sector, but it was neglected by many times as of now. But I am seeing a good kind of sharp up move in battery sector as well. If you have seen the Exide Industries and Amar Raja, they are forming good round of bottoming patterns in as per technical analysis. So my point of view is that we can also see as a battery segment and a short-term reversal in steel sector from this point of time, as the China will announce the stimulus. And one more thing I want to add, just a second, that investors are worried that the Fed will do too much, that they soft landing Powell is aiming for and too much difficult as a target to hit. But this starting point is an ideal to their room of consumption to slow without bringing the whole economy to the screening halt. So if you see that US, there is a price rate hike. But what I am saying is, if the price rate hikes, the IT sector will underperform, but rest of the sector will help index to go upside from these levels. Just I want to close my words as of what I've said. Just I want to ask stock market scientists on my point of view.
Any comments from your side, stock market scientist G, on Jayesh perspective as
So I guess
such,
in
if you wanted
China,
to
so if
chime in?
the kind of stimulus that China has got, or the kind of, so what they're going to boost the economy. So ultimately, manufacturing is something which is the their backbone, or one of their pillar, right? So if they're going to expand in the manufacturing, or if they're going to strengthen their manufacturing activity, then I guess they will have more steel, or world will have more steel. If you're talking about the steel, right? So if world is going to have more steel, now what was the reason of this fall? Main reason क्या था? Supply and this gap ना, demand supply gap, कि war की वजह से prices ऊपर चले गए and supply हो नहीं पाया, चाइना में वो लग गया सारा कुछ. Now we're going to have enough supply from China as well. So I guess this will be a challenging for prices to move up. So वो में अब तो मिशन ब्लू स्काई करके किया था चाइना ने. Anybody is anybody heard
Yes,
about
sir,
it?
I know. Yes, I have
Mission
heard
Blue.
about
So
it. Because
Mission
I am
Blue Sky
basically,
का
yes,
Blue Sky में what they did, it was a drive, or it was a mission to that cleanup, or to for that sustainability, right? जितना भी companies ये pollution करते थे, और to reduce the level of pollution in the air, और जो भी होता है या CO2 का जो मतलब there was some parameters basis that they have launched this mission. So उसमें they have closed down lot of chemical names और lot of chemical companies, उनको बंद करने के लिए बोला और उनको sustainable practice करने के लिए बोला. उसकी वजह से we have benefited a lot, specifically our chemical sector. So हमारे chemical sectors में बहुत सारे companies का जो growth आया है वो चाइना की वजह से भी आया है, right? Chemical में. तो similarly, when you shut the plant, when China shuts the plant, right? So then definitely it helps some countries, right? Or the countries which are in the same manufacturing area. But if China opens up its plants, तो ultimately वो supply बढ़ाएगा. तो अगर supply ज़्यादा बढ़ जाएगी, तो मेरे को लगता नहीं कि prices ज़्यादा ऊपर हो पाएंगे. And I believe this is going to be a booster for short term. थोड़ा हो सकता है कि इस boost से news हो जाए, but I don't see that kind of rally that we have seen इसमें. और स्पेसिफिकली कमोडिटीज में तो क्या होता है, इंटरेस्ट रेट साइकिल जब ऊपर की तरफ जाता है तो कमोडिटीज थोड़ा सा आपका हमेशा आप देखिएगा कि मार्केट के मुकाबले थोड़ा अंडर परफॉर्म करती हैं, राइट? कमोडिटीज का बेस्ट बाइंग पॉइंट होता है जब इंटरेस्ट रेट साइकिल पीक हो जाए और उसके बाद जब नीचे आ जाए इंटरेस्ट रेट, और तो कमोडिटीज के भाव टूट जाए पूरे अच्छे से, लगे कि यार ये तो मतलब 2 साल 3 साल पहले के भाव आ गए. जैसे फॉर एन एग्जांपल what happened in 2020, I was very much bullish on metals. आप पीछे जाके पढ़िए, मैंने कितनी बार ट्विटर पे बोला कि मेटल्स को लीजिए, मतलब ऐसा मौका नहीं मिलेगा. तो फॉर एन एग्जांपल गोदावरी पावर एंड शारदा एनर्जी, माय ऑल टाइम फेवरेट दोनों कंपनीज. सो यहाँ पे आप पैलेट प्राइसेस देखोगे तो वो कोविड में 6500 के आसपास चला गया था, 6500 से भी उसके, क्योंकि सबको लगा डिमांड ये हो जाएगा वो सारा कुछ. बट 6500 प्राइसेस हमने कब देखा था? 2018 में। तो उस टाइम का जो प्रॉफिट था या सेल्स था, और 2020-21 का 20 का जो सेल्स प्रॉफिट था उससे काफी हाई था। स्पेसिफिकली सेल्स प्रॉफिट नहीं हो पा रहा था बिकॉज चैलेंजेस थे सारे कुछ। तो देयर वाज अ वेरी सिंपल लॉजिक कि आपको बड़े सस्ते पी में स्टॉक्स मिल रहे थे, 2 की पी पे, 3 की पी पे, फॉरवर्ड पी पे तो कई स्टॉक्स 1 पी पे, 1.5 पी पे अवेलेबल थे, राइट? कि 1 पी का स्टॉक आपको 2-3 साल का मल्टीपल आप देते हो वहां पे मिल रहा था। आज वही स्टॉक्स आपको फॉरवर्ड पी आप दोगे, आपको 10 का देना पड़ेगा या 12 का देना पड़ेगा पीक ऑफ द साइकिल में, तब जाके आपको आप इन्वेस्ट करोगे और चांसेस ऑफ रिटर्न थोड़े कम रहेंगे कंपेयरिंग अदर सेक्टर्स। तो फॉर एन एग्जांपल शारदा एनर्जी, द डे इट हैज अनाउंस दैट बायबैक, 1500 पे बायबैक किया और आज तक वो प्राइसेस वहां तक टच करके आया लेकिन आ नहीं पाया। अभी 800 पे है, वहां से 40-45% करेक्शन हो गया है। सो अगर कुछ सिग्निफिकेंट होता तो आपको ये प्राइसेस में ज्यादा फॉल देखने को नहीं मिलता। एंड आई बिलीव दीज कंपनीज आर गोइंग टू कंसोलिडेट। हो सकता है और ज्यादा ना गिरे, 10-20% गिर जाए यहाँ से, लेकिन आने वाले 3-4 महीने के बता रहा हूं, हो सकता है नीचे में 600 जाए, ऊपर में 1000-1100 जाए। ये 500-600 की पॉइंट में ये पूरे 6 महीने निकाल दे ये चीजें। तो एक टाइम आएगा जब कैपिटलाइजेशन इसमें होगी और जब सेक्टर में से पैसा आना शुरू होएगा वापस, अभी जा रहा है यहाँ से धीरे 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 धीरे, तब आपको लेना चाहिए। तो आपको बहुत बड़ा पैसा बनने को मिलेगा जो नेक्स्ट लेग स्टार्ट होगी इसकी। अभी वो नहीं है, मतलब अभी वो नेक्स्ट लेग स्टार्ट नहीं हुई है, बिकॉज अभी एक लेग खत्म हुई है इसकी, तो उसका कंसोलिडेशन होएगा। अगर आप कैसे भी देखें कि अभी चल चुके हैं बहुत लंबे, तो दे नीड टू टेक अ रेस्ट। सो वंस दे टेक दैट एनफ रेस्ट फॉर नेक्स्ट लॉन्ग जर्नी, वहां पे आप लीजिए।
सर बट मेरा जो व्यू था वो शॉर्ट टर्म का था, मैं लॉन्ग टर्म की बात ही नहीं कर रहा हूँ। पॉइंट
हाँ,
ये है,
शॉर्ट टर्म में हो
नहीं
सकता है बूस्टर।
क्योंकि शॉर्ट टर्म में क्यों बोल रहा हूँ, क्योंकि अभी जो अगर स्टिमुलस देता है, और सेकंड पॉइंट
हम्म
ये है मेरा, लॉन्ग टर्म में तो अभी स्टील सेक्टर को हाथ ही नहीं लगाना चाहिए। क्यों? क्योंकि प्राइस कटिंग हो रहा है अभी। प्राइस कटिंग के वजह
हम्म
से जो सेल जो है स्टील अथॉरिटी ऑफ इंडिया, उनको जो अभी प्रॉफिट चल रहा था, जो नेक्स्ट क्वार्टर जो आने वाला है, नेक्स्ट जो अपकमिंग 3 क्वार्टर्स आएंगे, उसमें कंपनी का प्रॉफिट ही नहीं होगा। अगर प्राइस कटिंग ऐसे ही चलते रहा तो स्टिमुलस कितने बार देंगी गवर्नमेंट, कौन सी भी गवर्नमेंट कितने बार देगी?
हम्म
तो अभी मोस्टली मुझे एक दो पॉइंट्स और ऐड करने थे। जैसे अभी जेफरीज ने बीच में एक कमेंट पास किया था, द रैली में लूम ऑन द होरिजॉन ऑफ टेक सेक्टर्स, टेक स्टॉक्स अकॉर्डिंग टू द जेफरीज, इट इज नाउ बुलिश ऑन द सेक्टर अकॉर्डिंग टू द रिसर्च नोट and gears, matlab they are mostly bullish on auto ancillaries like batteries and gear stocks, and bearish amid on few sectors like sell off may continue in IT sector as the interest rate will hike, that will affect the IT sector's earning. And most one point I also add, right now the current inflation in US is being driven by a higher energy and food cost, which the Fed can't control right now. The only way for the Fed to bring the headline inflation rate down to claim down as a demand, in other words, to stop the shoppers for spending so much at stores. मतलब आप दुकानदार को ही बोल रहे हो कि आप बेचो ही मत। इन्फ्लेशन मतलब यूएस वैसा चाहता है अभी। अगर आप वो यूएस का अगर आप देखो ना, फेड की अगर आप उनकी कमेंट्री अगर जाके देखोगे ना, तो इन्वेस्टर आर वरीड दैट द फेड्स विल डू टू मच। फेड्स इतना सब कुछ कर रहा है तो इन्वेस्टर इतने वरीड हो रहे हैं, उसके वजह से पैनिक मचा है यूएस में। और इंडिया अभी उससे बहुत दूर है। अगर यूएस में अगर ये सब चीजें हो रही है तो इसको इनडायरेक्टली इंडिया को बेनिफिट आउट होगा। थोड़ा सा शॉर्ट टर्म पेन रहेगा इंडिया में, बट एज द थिंग लिटिल बिट थोड़ी सी भी अगर सही होती है ना, तो ये अपने इंडिया के लिए बहुत अच्छी अपॉर्चुनिटीज है। बट द स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट इज द आइडियल एट देयर इज अ रूम ऑफ कंजम्पशन टू द स्लो विदाउट ब्रिंगिंग द होल इकोनॉमी इन द स्क्रीनिंग हार्ट। ये स्पेशली फॉर इंडिया के लिए, मतलब मैं उनके जो एक ये था ये कमेंट्री थी उस पे से मैंने उनके दो तीन, चूंकि एज एन एनालिस्ट मैं वो कंटिन्यूसली उनके वर्डिंग्स जो भी उनके चल रहा है उनके यहाँ पे जो भी।
Right.
यस।
Yes, absolutely
हाँ।
right, Jayesh. I totally agree on that point.
Yes. So basically, I'm just saying that even the Coinbase president has told employees that slowing hiring of the economic market, they have planned to slow down their if I'm not getting the size, they if they were planning for the heading 22 for the plan for triple in size in cryptocurrency. But if you see from I am saying in next 6 months, cryptocurrency will more fall from here as the tech stocks are falling off. But in tech stock, there are one sector in tech, that is AI, artificial intelligence, that will jump as these things will get clear. That FL India, Happiest Mind, LTDS, these stocks are the black horse, you can say, dark horse, you can say, in IT sectors. They will beat the market in forming of the rally, is what I am seeing right now.
Right. Thank you for sharing your perspective,
One
Jai.
second, Jayesh. Again, I will give that disclaimer that these are
Yes.
this is your
Yes,
opinion.
yes.
The listeners can do their own research, so this nothing can be construed as investment advice. Yeah, but you've given your opinion that is fair, but nothing will be construed as investment advice, and the reader and the listeners can
Yes,
exercise
yes.
their own
This is totally
discretion.
a disclaimer.
I would just like to go to yeah, yeah. I would just like to go to Dhiren, sir, who's been waiting patiently. Dhiren Ta is from Mumbai, and he's a technical analyst and also a mutual fund distributor and associated with the financial services industry for the past 10, 15 years. Dhiren, sir, if you could ask your question or give your views.
Hi everyone. Yeah, sorry, in between I had to leave for something had come up, but yeah, I was patiently listening. I think initially I listened to what the our chief guest who had come and joined us, stock market scientist had to say. So it was a very interesting point of view he had, except one fact where he initially he said that FMCG looks good, which I even believe. From a technical perspective, FMCG is at a good space. However, from margins, from a fundamental perspective, is just one viewpoint, which is a personal viewpoint. Obviously, things may change from here if all the Fed or the governments and people really do something about it, and probably if hopefully the war also ends, and things might just turn from here. We never know when it will happen though. So my sense is that FMCG will remain under some pressure because of margins, the way inflation has gone. And if you see our own, Mr. Das, RBI governor himself said that India will also probably inflation could reach 7.5 odd percent, going forward for some time. So the thing is, we might. For some time I believe FMCG will remain under pressure because of that. Either they will, as usual they do those those they change the packing, and they make it even more smaller, or the bun gets more smaller and smaller in McDonald's. So things like that will happen where the prices will remain same. But the fact is, now in today's time the consumer is effectively smart enough. Things go viral on social media very fast, memes are made, what not happens. So the point is, going forward, only FMCG, I believe, has got something where, for some time, maybe there might be a pause. I think I totally agree with his view on autos. I think autos, one of the biggest beneficiaries is going to be the metals cooling off, and metals being one of the biggest components for all the parts. That was always putting autos under pressure. But if you see off lately, while Nifty has been, sort of a free falling from 16,500, 16,600 whenever it has gone there, and, selling pressure has emerged. But if you see, autos have been quite resilient in the fall. They have not been a party to it. You beat Tata Motors or beat Marutis of the world. And in fact, to everyone's surprise, it's M&M. While the whole world is moving down, M&M has gone and made has made a life high. Forget a 52-week high. It's actually gone ahead and made a new life high in last week. So the fact remains that autos are exceptionally strong from a relative strength perspective. And my sense is, obviously, I think this weekend the whole social media, whether it's Telegram, Twitter, WhatsApp, I think everybody was a Fed governor. They all wanted to say what the government should be doing and how they should be doing. So we had more than 1 billion economists everywhere. But the fact remains that for some time there might be pressure in terms of what markets may do. But my sense is, I've been saying time and again from a technical perspective that I believe mean reversion happens. I believe retest of levels happen. So for me it's going to be that 15,200 to 14,200 level. So I believe that's where the sense should prevail, and maybe India could get very interesting from a PE perspective as well. It's already right now below 20. So if we happen to go there, it might got even more lucrative the way I look at it. And typically, whatever is the fair value, markets tend to go slightly more extreme. So so I'll give you one perspective, just an example, personal view again. I'll quickly wind it up. I always thought that 8,300, 8,500 was a very fair value of Nifty when Nifty used to be around 11,900 odd. But we still went to 7,500. The point is, we still discounted from there another 10 odd percent. The sense is, though we are 16,200, and we might do a 16,000 tomorrow, etc., whatever. But the fair value, I believe we might find some real fair value around 15,000 to 14,200 band, and that's where the mean reversion should happen. And let's see. I hope for everybody's portfolio sake, the reversal happens sooner. The war ends, people live more peacefully, and from that point of view, I believe we should have a break and we should move up again. So this is one view, and I believe that it's a very good level. So look for good quality stocks. Stick with quality, whatever is one is investing, whether short term or long term. End of the day, quality prevails. Be wary of high debt companies and high interest rate environment, because that will push their margins under pressure from a fundamentally perspective point of view. And interest rates are going to be a challenge for some time. It will not overnight make a dip. So I think that cycle will play out, and let's see how things shape up.
Of course, I think that's very, very valid pointers. In terms of even FMCG, I do believe that, as stock market scientist G was talking about, I think that that very much implies to the market leaders, because a company like Bajaj Consumer may not able to pass on their cost to the consumers in terms of the market share savings. But also, I think a company like Pidilite or Nestle, for that example, can actually push and share the margin pressure to the consumer itself. So I again believe that's sort of a stock specific thing. But I do wanted to ask you, Dhirenji, as you talked about in terms of technical indicators. Last time when we had a session, everyone was talking about it's sort of a buy on dips market, right? And last session we discussed it was sort of a sell on rallies market. So what do you believe right now? What is the market texture right now?
Okay, so from a trend point of view, so we've definitely, if you see a daily indicator or you daily, we are definitely gone down again. Weekly we are more of a sideways to down. Monthly, I still believe we are in a bull market. From a monthly perspective, though this month may confirm the move, whether we actually want to go down or no. But as I said last time, I think when we had met and when we had spoken, I said if you put a very from a technical perspective, if you put a very simple, I always believe that one should keep it also simple and not make it very complicated. So just take a weekly chart, just put 100 SMA on it. Nothing like no rocket science. Any software will give you that. And you see in history what has happened. Nifty generally touches that level, some current passes on, and markets again tend to move up. Okay, so right now I think that level is around 14,800, 15,000 odd level, or because last time I checked it was at 14,200 level. But I guess the more time the price spends above it, the averages slowly moves up. you know so I want to see when the marriage happens, when the price and the moving averages greet each other, meet each other, and then probably the bounce should happen. So it's not touched that level since a very long time. So I believe one that could be a mean reversion level. And from there, we if we really hold that level, again it's all conditional. It's not nothing like a ramban ki wahan se ghumega hi. So I want to see a reversal. I want to see a price confirmation or a price action saying that it wants to halt out here and probably wants to move up. Only then, I can take a more informed decision. Okay, a bottom could be around the corner, and maybe from here I would like to buy certain good quality stocks at a level where I believe that from here the prices will go up. As far as long term investments are concerned, what was lucrative at 18,000 should be definitely more lucrative at 15,000. Because if you're a value seeker, if you're a value buyer, value what you're getting at 18 is you're getting a far more better value at 15,000. So so it's a different perspective, it's a different thought process, and one should look at it in that way. And I believe it's still a sell on rise, but from a monthly perspective, as I said, it is definitely a confluence level. If you see, it's a breakout. Your 14,800 to 15,500 is where the breakout happened after a huge consolidation for 2.5 months. And I think August 2021, if I'm not mistaken, or July 21. From there we had a breakout, and now we have had a retest. So ideally, we should hold that level. But as you said, there are level below levels. Markets can do, will tend to break one, move down further, and then probably from there reverse, after, because till people are bullish, markets won't be bullish. The day people give up the hope, कि अब तो कुछ नहीं हो सकता, चलो, when the last bear, when the last bull puts down the paper, that's where the markets tend to generally reverse. So keep an eye on good, social media is a good way to look at it. At times, it's like the way I tell you, markets will often find space which is least crowded. So if the world is bearish, markets may generally tend to move up. If the world is bullish, then markets will really tend to move down. So at 18,500, the world was super bullish. Okay. I don't want to name people, but there were people who were mocking bears on Twitter at 18,500 levels. And I said, boss, top is around the corner. And, that's what happened eventually. So, that's what it is. So when you are super bullish, this is what generally happens. And when you're super bearish also, I think at 7,500, the world was super bearish during COVID. And that's what happened, markets moved up from there. So let's see.
Yeah, Dhiren, I'd like to interrupt. I'd like to just ask you that while even I have been posting whatever I'm getting from social media, which seems to suggest that the consensus in the US, especially, we have Elon Musk, we have Ray Dalio, billionaire, he's worth $20 billion. As you know, he's a hedge trader. All of them and many others are slightly looking bearish. The consensus is looking more towards the bearish side, and in India, like you said, the bottom might not be there, but couldn't we be closer to a bottom? Because it looks like that a lot of people have lost hope. A retail investor on average has lost 15-20% of his capital on individual stocks. Let's leave the index level alone. As you know, many stocks have got down. So maybe we don't have to go down too much also from these levels.
Yeah, so I believe, though index may go down, but maybe your certain stocks won't make a new low. So that management will keep on happening. Now, what is going to push the index down? Nobody knows that. Okay, so maybe if you're invested into auto, maybe auto might not make a new low or a new 52-week low, but your Nifty may do one. Similarly, it depends on again on what stock specific you're holding. So maybe IT anyways corrected 45-50%. So maybe that would like to take a breather, but your certain stocks may not like to take. So it all depends on which stock you're holding. But as I said, I'm from me right now, downside is going to be because we've been in a range. Okay, because we've been a range, we might have a 2-3 day move and we might be done and over with it. So though I believe there will be still a big move of 1,000 point either way, because we've been in a range for some time. So whenever we've been in a NRF, the way I look at it is NRF is narrow range formation. And once we move out of that, generally we tend to have a very fast and furious move, and most of the move is actually done in gaps. And so that's what it is. So I believe that we should be done. Like, Friday we went down. Now tomorrow we will be, hopefully, I don't know, we will be at least, that's what XGS shows, of doing another gap down. Whether we hold that gap down or not, that only time will tell. I don't predict. But I believe we should have some more pain, or we might remain sideways and just move up. That could be happen. But I believe that there is some little pain of 500 to 1,000 points just there. And that would be the last leg, the last panic, the last bull giving up hope. And that's where the change should come. And generally also, just another perspective. Okay, so there are these 4 major cycles which come: your 21st March, your 21st June, your 21st September, and 21st December. While the the 21st June becomes the longest day of the year, the 21st March, 21st December remains the shortest day of the year, and the other two being the equinox, when your sun passes through your Capricorn and Cancer vara line. So generally these are supposed to be good reversal days. So I sense, okay, now this is again, I have not studied it, but I've been following it, and I've generally seen the good, the good turns happen during those days. So maybe around 21st June is where I believe the pain of your bottom should end and market should start reversing from there. Let's see whether it happens or not.
Just an
Thank
observation.
you. Yeah, thank you, Dhiren. Yeah, Mani, you wanted to say something?
Yes, sir. Sir, I just do have certain questions, even for Sanchit Bhai also. Sanchit Bhai have been waiting for quite a while. So Sanchit Bhai, you there with us, first of all?
Mani, I'm here.
Mani, you won't be able to speak. He's outside somewhere. I think we can. There are some other listeners who wanted to ask
Absolutely.
some questions. Some Ram, Mr. Ram, Mr. K. They want to ask some questions. So I think we can bring them on, and maybe Dhiren sir can help us with some of the questions. No, stock market sir is there. 1 second. There's been some glitch. I'm just adding him as a speaker. 1 second.
Hi, it's Keshav. Thank you for conducting this session. I have a one question like the future. Everyone is talking about the green hydrogen, the blue hydrogen, the fuel, fossil fuel. So, what are the stocks in the leader? We can have a look in that correction.
1 second. We just want to see there's been a technical glitch. I don't know whether it's Manigar sir, can you just can you just check if stock market sir is he's there, but is he can he speak?
I am also inviting him, sir, stock market scientist ji. If you are listening to us, I think there's a glitch from maybe Twitter side. We have been trying to invite you up. Kindly join through the link which I have sent you through the DM.
Yes, now sir is the speaker. Stock market sir, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Sir,
Yes.
yes, sir. So there was a question from Mr. K. Mr. K, can you repeat the question once again, please?
Yeah. First of all, thank you, the team, entire team. Thank you for conducting this and saying the retailers. So my question is like, so nowadays everyone like talking about the green hydrogen, blue hydrogen, the fossil fuel. So how the market share for that, and what are the best stocks in India, like just to have a long-term investment?
So I guess this is going to be a very good theme, or you can say this comes under sustainability theme, And I already told multiple times that sustainability theme is going to be a very, very, very big theme. So in this theme, you will find many verticals, whether it is green hydrogen, ethanol, or the EVs, or you can say biotech and all. So I guess you need to find the companies which are into this green hydrogen space, whether that company is ancillary to that to the company which is manufacturing green hydrogen and all, because grain and this other forms of hydrogen I don't see that will be having that kind of future. But yes, green hydrogen is something which will be a talk of the town in next 2-3 years. And there is a model of Hyundai called Mirai, sorry, Toyota ka hai, kiska Toyota ka, I guess, right? So I guess next 2-3 years you will see the actual reality in the companies which are investing today in that particular area, specific to green. So I would suggest be with the big names, whether it is Reliance or the ONG, what ONG is doing. Even Gale is into that. So be with the big names, right? Or in the ancillary part, there are a couple of companies which generally provide a storage. So there is very popular stuff, Linde. So these are some niche companies which you can look at,
Yeah, thank you, thank you. I heard the same names like Reliance. They already committed in the upcoming. They are trying to give one the hydrogen for that 1 rupee like that liter or quantity, and Tata Power, JSW Energy. So among them also they are top. Yeah, thank you. We'll have a look long view on that.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. K, and thank you, the stock market scientist, sir. I'm a little embarrassed. Mr. Ram Kamboji has been raising his hand, and we have not been able to bring him on. Mr. Ram Kamboji, you want to ask a question?
Yeah, good evening all, and thank you so much for conducting this session. I have just one question that, sir, stock market, sir. What are your views about that power stocks? As we knew, means we come to know that the power demand it's just shoot up to the lifetime high, and just because of that कि जो coal की shortage है ये भी मतलब today's is a scenario that CIL is importing coals. तो उसको देखते हुए आपका क्या व्यू है सर इस पे मतलब पावर स्टॉक्स को लेकर सर?
में जो power shortage, it will further boost the production or the further boost the confidence of all these power producers which are working on this renewable energy theme. तो जो कंपनीज रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी पे काम कर रही हैं उनको आज की सिचुएशन को देख के एक और कॉन्फिडेंस मिलेगा. अगर इफ आई एम अ रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी प्रोड्यूसर, सो आज की सिचुएशन जो आई है ना, ये आगे ना आए, राइट? ये आए तो मैं डील कर सकूं कितना डिमांड है, बट विच यू आर सेइंग, यू आर राइट. तो वो के हिसाब से कितना क्या हम कर सकते हैं. तो आई बिलीव बी विद द ऑल द पावर प्लेस, और पावर इज एन एफएमसीजी. आप ये बताओ बिना पावर के आप क्या कर सकते हो? मतलब बैटरी से हर चीज नहीं चलेगा ना. फॉर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग यू नीड ए पावर. घर में तो आज की डेट में वेदर इट इज अ विलेज, मतलब वेदर इट्स अ रूरल एरिया और अर्बन एरिया, कहीं पे भी हो, तो आप कितना भी अच्छा घर ले लो, लेकिन बिना पावर के वो घर अच्छा नहीं लगेगा. अंधेरा किसी को नहीं चाहिए. सो पावर कंजप्शन इज हैज जस्ट स्टार्टेड पिकिंग अप. Going forward, I've already talked a lot about that theme. AC penetration जब बढ़ेगा तो वहां पे आपको और पावर चाहिए. सिमिलरली मतलब जिस तरीके से पावर का पूरा, तो पावर एक एफएमसीजी है. आप ये देखिए पिछले 3-4 साल में, and this came because of lifestyle changes that we have witnessed during last 5-6 years. आप 6 साल पहले इतने स्मार्टफोन्स नहीं थे, तो अब इतने सारे स्मार्टफोन ऐड हो गए, आगे फर्दर और ऐड होंगे. सो पावर चाहिए उनको चार्ज करने के लिए ना. मतलब आपका पावर चार्जर आ रहा है, वो भी ज्यादा पावर ले रहा है तो चार्ज कर पा रहा है, राइट? सिमिलरली नंबर ऑफ अप्लायंस, अगर मैं कंज्यूमर ड्यूरेबल की बात करूँ तो वो का पेंट्रेशन बहुत बढ़ गया है. वेदर इट इज, तो फ्रिज का अगर मैं टीवी का बोलूँ तो आपको गांव गांव में, घर घर में, या एवरीवेयर इन द कंट्री मिल जाएगा. सो उसको चलाने के लिए नीड है पावर. तो आने वाले टाइम पे व्हेन एसी पेनिट्रेशन इज गोइंग टू गो अप, और सब चीजें रहेंगी आपकी, इलेक्ट्रिक जो है उसको भी चार्ज, गाड़ियां अगर रहेंगी तो उसको चार्ज करने के लिए भी पावर चाहिएगा आपको. सो पावर तो बोल सकते हो कि एफएमसीजी है, और आने वाले टाइम पे आई सी, जो आज ऑल टाइम हाई पे आपको डिमांड दिख रही है, इससे बहुत ऊपर आपको डिमांड आने वाले टाइम पे देखने को मिलेगी. प्रॉब्ली आई बिलीव इन नेक्स्ट 3-4 years रेन्यूएबल एनर्जी इज समथिंग जो एक ऑल्टरनेट है, या एक प्रॉक्सी प्ले है इसका पूरा. वहां पे आप मतलब अच्छा स्टॉक ढूंढ के पैसा लगा सकते हो, जो भी बड़े पावर प्लेयर्स हैं, रादर देन गोइंग
सर
फॉर
मैं
ट्रेडिशनल जो रहते हैं इसमें.
जी, जी, सर। सर मैं एक्चुअली एक चीज़ जानना चाहता था कि दैट ड्यू टू दिस हाई डिमांड ऑफ कोल, तो जो बेसिकली द फर्स्ट प्रायोरिटी जो सीआईएल में भी जो भी कोल प्रोड्यूसर्स हैं उनको दे आर हैविंग अ फर्स्ट प्रायोरिटी फॉर द पावर प्रोड्यूसर, मतलब थर्मल पावर प्लांट्स, ऑल दीस थिंग्स. तो जस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ दैट जो इंडस्ट्रीज जैसे टेक्सटाइल है या और इंडस्ट्रीज है, दे आल्सो नीड कोल. तो उनको शॉर्टेज होगा तो कहीं ना कहीं वो उसकी कॉस्ट या प्रोडक्शन के ऊपर कहीं ना कहीं इफेक्ट करेगा. तो इन द शॉर्ट टाइम ऑफ वाइल कि जो ये दूसरी टेक्सटाइल कंपनी डिपेंड या अदर कंपनी है जो डिपेंडेंट है कोल पे, तो उनका कुछ प्रोडक्शन लो होगा, मे बी कुछ रेवेन्यूज और ये सब चीज़ों में मतलब डाउनफॉल हो सकता है क्या? मतलब
वो
उसका शॉर्ट
कंपनी
टर्म
का
पे
होगा
स्टॉक मिल सकता है?
जिसके पास ऑर्डर्स नहीं है स्ट्रांग इतने. तो इफ आई एम ए टेक्सटाइल प्लेयर, और मेरे को आगे मेरे जो जो मेरे कस्टमर्स हैं वो बोल रहे हैं भाई आप तो बड़े हुए रेट में भी हमको माल दो टाइम पे. आज की डेट में आफ्टर कोविड व्हाट इज द बिगेस्ट चैलेंज सो फॉर ऑल द टेक्सटाइल प्लेयर्स टू सर्व देयर कस्टमर. से जाके पूछिए, या एक रिटेलर जो है जो बेचता है फाइनल प्रोडक्ट को, उससे जाके पूछिए कि माल की सप्लाई कैसे रही है पिछले 1.5 साल में. वो आपको बताएंगे यार, वो अप डाउन आता रहा है कोविड की वजह से, और सेकंड वेव के बाद फिर एक और अभी भी चैलेंज है. अभी चैलेंज है कॉटन कैंडी. तो अभी वो लोग प्रायोरिटी उसे ही दे रहे हैं जिसका एडवांस पेमेंट आ रहा है, जहां पे देर से सम अमाउंट ऑफ रिलायबिलिटी फैक्टर, कि हाँ ये जो मेरा कस्टमर है ये टाइम पे पेमेंट भी आ जाएगी इसकी, आ चुकी है, और बेच भी देगा, और फिर मैं इसको बना के दूंगा. तो प्रायोरिटी उस तरीके से सेट हो रही है. सो आप देखिए जो प्रोमिनेंट ब्रांड्स हैं आपके, अगर मैं ब्रांडेड जो रिटेलर्स हैं उसकी बात करूं, वहां पे आपको स्टॉक का चैलेंज नहीं मिलेगा. लेकिन जो भी और जगह है वहां पे जो पैसा दे रहा है उसको पहले माल मिल रहा है, ये चीज है. तो आई बिलीव अगर आपके कस्टमर स्ट्रांग हैं, आप जब बड़े हुए रेट में उनको बेच पा रहे हो, वो बोल रहे हैं हमको टाइम पे चाहिए, आप रेट ज्यादा ले लो, हम बेच देंगे अपना आप, तो आपको कोला महंगा भी मिलेगा, या डिमांड ज्यादा पे करके लेके आओगे, आप उनको बना के दोगे. शॉर्ट टर्म में हो सकता है कि आपका मार्जिन जो है थोड़ा बहुत वो हो जाए, लेकिन सर्विसिबिलिटी फैक्टर भी एक चीज होती है. तो इन टेक्सटाइल और काफी सेक्टर्स में देयर इज ए फैक्टर कॉल्ड सर्विसिबिलिटी. आप कितने महीनों में, कितने टाइम पे आप उसको सर्विस करते हो, कितना उसने ऑर्डर किया और कितने आप सर्व कर पाए. तो सर्विसिबिलिटी फैक्टर अगर आप इस चैलेंजिंग टाइम पे किसी बड़े प्लेयर को टाइम पे दे रहे हो और अच्छा कर रहे हो, भला ही आपका मार्जिन ऊपर नीचे हुआ है, सो आपका वो एक लॉन्ग टर्म कॉन्ट्रैक्ट भी हो सकता है, जो काफी कंपनीज का हुआ है। आप जॉकी का इतिहास उठा के देखिए, पहले व्हेन जॉकी केम इन इंडिया, तो उसने पेज इंडस्ट्री को क्यों चुना? बिकॉज सर्विसिबिलिटी का फैक्टर उसे चाहिए था कि मेरी सर्विसिबिलिटी लेट नहीं होनी चाहिए। मतलब वो ऐसा ना हो कि कंज्यूमर आए और कोई स्टोर ऐसा रह जाए, दुकान ऐसी रहे जहाँ पे बोले कि नहीं स्टॉक ही नहीं है, तो वो मेरी ब्रांड इमेज को खराब कर देगा। सो रीजन बीइंग दे फाउंड पेज इंडस्ट्री, और आज तो देयर वाज अ स्टेज और लेग टू ऑफ ग्रोथ पेज इंडस्ट्री का, जब पेज इंडस्ट्री ने खुद से जो बाकी कंपनीज का मैन्युफैक्चर करते थे उनको बोला हाथ जोड़ के कि भाई हम आपका अब बना के नहीं दे सकते। बड़े बड़े ब्रांड्स के लिए जो कि पेज इंडस्ट्री बना के देती थी पहले इनरवेयर, उसने मना कर दिया, बोले कि वी आर एक्सपेंडिंग शोरूम्स, और कहते हो कि बड़े शोरूम खोलने वाले हैं जो 20-20 लाख रुपए का बिजनेस करेंगे, उसमें हम लोग सब कुछ रखेंगे। और एथलीजर थीम जो आया 17-18 में, वो के बाद तो फिर क्या कहना, आज की डेट में आप देखो छोटे छोटे टाउन्स में आपको जॉकी का आउटलेट मिलेगा। सो ये होता है, तो यहाँ पे सर्विसिबिलिटी देना जरूरी होता है, और जिसके पास कस्टमर है वो तो भाई महंगा कोल कस्टमर ही नहीं है तो वो वेट करेगा कि भाई चलो जो ऑर्डर है वो भाई आपका लेट हो जाएगा, मैं तब दे पाऊंगा। तो यहाँ पे ऑल अबाउट द फीचर, जिसको सोचना है कि भाई मेरे को मतलब एक एक ना मार्केट शेयर गेन करने के लिए आपको थोड़ा यहाँ पे खोना पड़ेगा मार्जिन में, ये है सीधी सी बात। तो आप ऐसा कंपनी देखिए
थैंक यू
कौन सा है।
थैंक यू सर
Great, thank you. So first of all, at last, I would like to say that we are very cognizant of the people time. Thank you guys for joining with us on such a short notice, and we'll be wrapping up this particular episode for tonight in just 10 minutes or so. And I do have a last set of questions to stock market scientist G. So my question is somewhat related to the new age companies, right? I think this is also from the audience side also. Very recently, I was just listening to Kunal Shah, where he was the founder of Cred, right? And he was talking about whenever a crisis like this, like pandemic happen, there is a tendency of shift in the consumer behaviors, right? What I mean to say is, the disruption is happening around the corner. Cinema and the medium media players are actually getting disrupted by the new OTT players that are actually coming, right? And where the two old legacy two-wheeler players are getting disrupted by the new business models of Aethers and the Olas of the world, right? And traditional banks are actually somewhat getting disrupted by the new fintech players, right? And even decentralized finance, so to speak. So my question to you is, sir, does disruption could be a make or break metric while analyzing the longevity of any particular good quality business? I just wanted to learn from your mindset. If you would like to shed some points from your side.
So I believe you're right, Gar. The kind of disruption that we have witnessed since COVID, so it was like something which we have never seen before, right? So somehow the one thing that we have seen during last 2 years is the evolution of some small companies, right? The way they have grown up, or the kind of unicorns we have got in last 2 years. So I believe it is going to be there for next 1 decade, because once, so we are an emerging economy. Until unless we are going to become a developed economy, तब तक ये चलता रहेगा सब आपका, and it is going to become intense in some space. कई जगह पे you're going to see a very good amount of fight, or you can say challenge, जहाँ पे मतलब अगर आपको उस सेक्टर में आगे जाना है एज एन इनोवेटर, और या आप उसमें एक नया सेटअप लगा रहे हो, सो समहाउ यू हैव टू बी श्योर दैट कि आपके पास वो सारे रिसोर्सेस हो। और आज की डेट में क्या हो रहा है कि द मेन थिंग इज दैट पीपल आर शिफ्टिंग टू, सो देर आर टू पिलर्स, वन इज द इनोवेशन आपके प्रोडक्ट में या जो भी आपके सर्विस में, बिकॉज देर आर टू काइंड ऑफ बिजनेस, वन इज योर सर्विस बिजनेस, वन इज योर प्रोडक्ट बिजनेस। सो प्रोडक्ट में या सर्विस में आपके अलग क्या है, आप कैसे उसको अलग से प्रेजेंट करते हो इन कंज्यूमर्स माइंड। नंबर टू इज द गेनिंग द कॉन्फिडेंस ऑफ कंज्यूमर्स, आप किस तरीके से उनका कॉन्फिडेंस गेन करते हो कि आपसे अटैच हो जाए शॉर्ट स्पैन ऑफ टाइम में, मतलब कुछ हटके करें। तो वो ये दो चीजें हैं जो भी कंपनी या जो भी आपने 2 साल में 3 साल में स्मॉल कंपनीज देखी हैं जो इवॉल्व हुई हैं, जिसने भी इन दो फैक्टर्स पे काम किया है कि गेनिंग द कॉन्फिडेंस ऑफ कंज्यूमर इन एन अर्ली स्टेज बड़ी फास्ट, और दूसरा प्रोडक्ट या सर्विस में ऐसा इनोवेट किया कि जो शायद बाकी कॉम्पिटिटर नहीं कर पा रहे थे, तो वो कंपनीज को बड़ा अच्छा रिस्पॉन्स मिला है। मतलब इतना फास्ट कि मतलब समहाउ कंज्यूमर्स वर रेडी टू गेट दैट काइंड ऑफ कंपनी, या वो तो ढूंढ रहे थे, वो वेट ही कर रहे थे कि यार ऐसा कुछ आया, ऐसा कुछ आया, और आ गया। और जैसे आया दे जम्प्ड इनटू और दे स्टार्टेड बाइंग दैट सर्विस और प्रोडक्ट। ये सब चीजें, सो आई बिलीव आगे इट इज गोइंग टू बिकम इंटेंस इन सम स्पेसेस, स्पेसिफिकली इन टेक स्पेस। टेक्नोलॉजी में शायद आपको बहुत तगड़ा फाइट देखने को मिले यहाँ पे। सो इफ एनीबडी इज देयर इन द टेक्निकल सेक्टर, इसमें तो बहुत कुछ उनको अपने आप को इनोवेट करना पड़ेगा। बिकॉज अभी क्या है कि ये जो रेस चल रहा है पूरा इनोवेशन का, innovation is going to lead the world, तो और इवन innovation is going to lead India। so इसमें अगर आप थोड़ा भी स्लो चलोगे तो आपको बहुत सारे लोग पीछे कर देंगे। तो फॉर एन एग्जांपल 1000 लोग भाग रहे हैं और वो किसी सर्टेन पेस से भाग रहे हैं, आपकी पेस अगर उन 1000 लोगों से थोड़ा भी पीछे हुए तो आप कितने लोगों से पीछे हो जाओगे, सोचिए आप। ये चीज है। So you have to be, stay vigilant on all the changes which we generally witness in any sector, in any area। और अगर वो गवर्नमेंट रेगुलेटेड इंडस्ट्री है, आप कुछ ऐसा बना रहे हो जहाँ पे गवर्नमेंट का रेगुलेशन बीच में बड़ा बड़ा आता है, तो वहां तो और ज्यादा यू नेवर नो कि वहां पे क्या आ जाए। तो लाइक लिकर है, सो लिकर में इनोवेशन ऐसा कुछ खास नहीं है, बट द वे दे आर विनिंग द कंज्यूमर कॉन्फिडेंस, कई ब्रांड्स, वो एक मेन चीज होती है यहाँ पे, और मार्केट शेयर, दो चीजें। सो उसमें भी आप देखो ना, ग्लोबल स्पिरिट्स ने कैसे किया, एक एक सप्लायर से वो अभी 3-4 ब्रांड हैं बाहर के, उनको एस्टेब्लिश कर रहे हैं इंडिया में, अच्छा खासा मार्केट बना लिया है। लेकिन गवर्नमेंट का किसी भी स्टेट में रेगुलेशन आता है कि बंद करना है लेकर को, तो उसके लिए काफी प्लेयर्स के लिए सेटबैक है। तो ऐसा इंडस्ट्री नहीं होना चाहिए जहाँ पे गवर्नमेंट रेगुलेशन एक बीच में आपका रोड ब्लॉक बने, या एक आपका हेडविंड बने। उसके अलावा जो भी है सब जगह पे ये सब चलता रहेगा, एंड कंपटीशन इज गोइंग टू बिकम इंटेंस, ये मान के चलिए आप। आसान नहीं होगा अभी।
Totally agree on that particular point. I do have a small counter question to that. You talked about disruption. You also talked about the tech startups out there. So, new age tech companies tend to hover our minds, and most of these companies have gone significantly down, right? As we all are familiar with. So, do you believe, as per the India's digital growth story is concerned, as you talked about, there is a huge headroom for growth, and we have seen enough downside in them, and only way they could see go is on upside? Do you believe that, or you believe that even after 60 or 70% correction they still look overvalued at this point of time?
So I guess it is not overvalued. So the main thing is that ki in which space you are betting. Like somebody was saying about AI, somebody is saying about the cloud, right? So in which space you are doing and what you are doing, how many competitors you have in that particular space, and the main thing, तो for an example let's say cloud का हम बात करते हैं, AI का बात करते हैं, तो AI में let's say there are 100 companies, और हर कंपनी का कोई ना कोई मार्केट शेयर है उसमें, लेकिन उसमें 10 नई कंपनी आती हैं, तो कहीं ना कहीं वो जो 100 कंपनी का मार्केट शेयर है ना, सबसे पहले तो उसी में से निकालने की कोशिश करेंगी, नंबर 1। नंबर 2, उसके बाद जो नेक्स्ट लेग ऑफ ग्रोथ आएगा उसमें से वो लोग कुछ निकालेंगी। तो कई ऐसी कंपनीज हैं जिनको अपना शेयर खोना पड़ेगा। तो सबसे ज्यादा ध्यान किसको रखना है यहाँ पे? दो कंपनीज को, एक विच इज अ लीडर, या जिसका शेयर सबसे ज्यादा है, बिकॉज उसका थोड़ा सा भी घटेगा, वहाँ वैल्यूएशन को ज्यादा मिला होगा, वो पिट जाएगा पूरा, राइट? ये होता है। तो जैसे मारुति है, मारुति का पिक जो मार्केट शेयर था, आई एम जस्ट कंपेयरिंग विद द ऑटो, वो 2018 में 48% था, राइट? उसके बाद जैसे मार्केट को लगा कि चैलेंजिंग रहेगा, तो 10,000 के आसपास उसने टॉप बना दिया, आज तक वो टॉप ब्रेक नहीं हुआ, आप देखिए। और बाकी अभी उसका घट के 42% आ गया, तो बाकी सब खा गए। तो अभी वो प्राइस इन हो रहा है, शायद हो सकता है हो भी गया, और हमको आने वाले टाइम पे 5 से 8 महीना में नया हाई भी देखने को मिले। लेकिन बड़ा कंपनी अगर कोई है में, उसको सबसे पहले चैलेंज आएगा, अगर उसका थोड़ा सा भी शेयर जाता है तो उसके वैल्यूएशन तो तुरंत घटेंगे। दूसरा चैलेंज आएगा कोई छोटी कंपनी जो मुश्किल से किसी, मतलब किसी साम दाम नट बीट करके कुछ शेयर बनाया था, लेकिन कोई ऐसा इनोवेशन आया जो कहीं ना कहीं उसको परेशान करना शुरू कर दिया, और उसके बेटर सर्विस देके निकालने की कोशिश कर दी, तो वो का तो फिर ये लगा लो कि बिल्कुल ही उसको डंप हो जाएगा वैल्यूएशन एंड ऑल पूरा, क्योंकि उसके लिए ज्यादा खतरा है। उसका एक तो बेस छोटा है, और छोटे बेस में से अब निकाल दोगे तो उसका कैश फ्लो क्या बचेगा? कुछ बचेगा ही नहीं। राइट। तो ये आपको देखना है, तो कंपनी कौन से स्पेस में है, वहां पे कितना कंपटीशन आ सकता है, एंड इफ दैट कंपनी हैज सम प्रोडक्ट्स और कुछ ऐसा स्पेस में वो प्रोडक्ट बना रही है जहां पे फिट करती रहेगी, आप रही है। तो लाइक कैम्स करके एक कंपनी है, रूट मोबाइल है, ये सब कंपनी इसमें मेरे ख्याल से रहना चाहिए जहाँ पे बिजनेस विजिबिलिटी ज्यादा सही है। यहाँ पे अल्टरनेटिव जो आपके कॉम्पिटिटर्स आएंगे वो इतना स्पेस नहीं, इतना कुछ नहीं खा पाएंगे आपका मार्केट, राइट। और जो मार्केट ग्रोथ है इन एरियाज में ज्यादा है, राइट।
Absolutely. I always love the whole discussion. I'm loving the whole discussion. Chetan ji, always glad to hear different perspective from the experts. Who have been coming up, sharing their knowledge. They have been having the wide experience from the different fields. Chetan ji, we were talking, discussing earlier that this space gonna be a much more like a candid space. Will continue for 1 hour, but I think on a stretch basis, it's been running for quite a while. I truly loving this whole space. So Chetan ji, you wanted to add on something, or we can take the final words from the speakers, the Ranji Sanchiti and stock market scientists, before we wrap up the session.
Yeah, just a word of thanks from my side to stock market scientist sir for coming and giving us so much wisdom and being patiently. Also, what I loved about the stock market scientist was that he was willing to listen to the views of SAINIK and everyone who came, patiently listening. And the esteemed guest speaker was gave the due respect to everyone and listened to everyone's view and gave his own opinion, which is correct also, and which can be correct or not correct at some point of time, but he gave a lot of facts and figures to support his views, which was more important than just his opinion. So that was the major point in stock market scientist, sir, that his opinions were well supported with facts, data, and examples. Going to Dhiren sir, he's also given his views and also given many anecdotes and all. And I thank you, Dhiren sir, also. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, even I would like to say thanks a lot for inviting here, and I think I've listened to some very good, talks. Unfortunately, I could not be there in between, but stock market scientist sir was a good, always good to listen to. So yeah, thank you guys. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, and thanks to all the other listeners who came in, including SAINIK sir, including many others who asked the relevant questions and whatever was there in their mind. Obviously, we've already given a disclaimer that nothing here is investment advice, but obviously these are opinions and they can be right and wrong opinions, but well supported by facts and data. You can do your own research, and there's a lot of takeaways from today's session would be my main thing, just because of the splendid discussion done by stock market scientists, sir. Back to you, Mani, for the closing comments and for the comments from stock market, sir. Yeah.
Of course, I think it's been super Sunday night listening to lovely people out here. Of course, even Chetan ji, we haven't listened much from you, but of course, we'll love to listen more in the next session. After all the great pointers been talked, I hope you all listeners got some fair amount of value out of it. As we have shift our focus in doing a monthly room, me with Chetan ji, Dhiren and Sanchit bhai in the same team, and we'll keep coming with the valuable content for you guys. So don't forget to follow our amazing, super amazing panelists that are there with us and that have been coming on a regular basis, sharing their knowledge and wide experience from the industry in the capital market. Anyone who just joined can listen to the recording session that will be there available on our timelines, profiles. And if we were not able to answer your queries, unfortunately, you can always reach out to us through the Twitter DMs. And thank you again. Thank you, Chetan ji, for being
Mani,
such
sir,
a lovely host.
yeah, Mani, just closing comments from stock market, sir. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sure,
I
sure.
just want to say thanks to all of you and you guys for arranging this wonderful session. And पंजाबी में हम लोग बोलते हैं ना जी आया नो, तो आप जब भी बुलाओगे तो आई डोंट नो एग्जैक्ट मीनिंग क्या होता है, बोलते हैं शायद कि आप कभी भी बुलाओगे तो आई एम ऑलवेज अवेलेबल, right, for these kind of discussions, healthy discussions, which is beneficial for all of us. Even I have learned a lot from this session, कुछ नए perspectives specifically from the speaker side. जो भी speakers आए सब लोगों ने अपना perspective share किया, तो that is also a learning, right? And I believe मजा आया, और आगे भी हम कभी ऐसा सेशन फिर कभी करेंगे जब भी जरूरत पड़े. एंड थैंक यू गाइस, थैंक यू एवरीवन. आप लोगों ने 2 घंटे तक पूरा जो लोग रहे पेशेंसली सुना. तो it means आपके blood में patience है, right? Which is something we need in stock market. And Chetan and Mr. Garg, I would love to meet you both of you in person. Probably during August, मैं आऊँगा शायद चंडीगढ़, right? So definitely, thank you.
Would be a pleasure, sir.
Thank
Definitely,
you.
we'll be in touch. Thank you.
Just ending the spaces in 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you all listeners. Thank you everyone.